Hey guys, welcome to our final episode of Foreplay.
Forever? Alright.
Yeah, forever. It's we're all disintegrating. It's like the Anohana stuff. It's like Memba disintegrating into the background here. But it is episode 204 of 4PlayerAnimecast. We are here in the 4th of September for people living over in the United States. This is also Labor Day weekend. So now, BM here, and we are covering the final episode of uh, 4Player Anime, or for summer 2022, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, summer 2022 reviews. So this will be our final review episode for that. And then after this, again, we are heading straight into our fall 2022 preview show. So we are doing this a little bit early, but I believe so what we're gonna what we're planning on doing is we're doing a preview show after this, and then afterwards we're doing a side cast. Again, a lot of the schedule has been mixed up just because of COVID and because of schedule shifting over in Japan. So we are gonna do preview, then a side cast after this, and then after the side cast, we should be in good form to head straight into the fall season and pick up whatever series there are. But yeah, this is the final episode of summer 2022, episode 204, and with me are my compatriots Dark,
Hello.
Toast,
Hi, it is I.
Near is AWOL, and we are not able to contact him currently. So the final member right now is myself, Spire. Again, I am here with Dark and Toast, and let's just go straight.
I'm looking at Canadian news and there's some sus things happening.
Yeah, it's
It's also some other. Is this the reason why certain Canadian VTubers are also nuts? Are on break?
So 2 weeks, our past 2 weeks. Let's just go straight into it. Toast, how have your past 2 weeks been?
Oh, fucking what happened in 2 weeks? Spire, did you watch Geats?
I did not,
Why not?
unfortunately.
Why not?
Yeah, what do you have
Because
against the Kamen Rider series?
well, I don't have much against the Kamen Rider series. It's just that I have never delved into that universe.
Why not?
I don't know whether I'm like afraid of it at this. I don't think
What's
I'm
your
like
aversion?
afraid of it. But...
Wait, it's too scary.
Well, it's not. It's like I usually don't really have that much fear of like jumping into a series, like a big series. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just start at somewhere. But it's like Kamen Rider is one of those things where I'm kind of like, I don't really know where to start. Like I'm not afraid, but I have
Told you
no
where to
idea.
start last time.
Yeah, this guy doesn't even take advice.
Isn't it? Didn't you guys just tell me to like start at the beginning of Double? Isn't that what you guys told me?
Yeah, you can start
Yeah.
with double, and then you do.
You guys literally just told me watch all of Double, which is like 200 plus hours or something like that.
No,
Watch it.
well,
You can watch.
I mean, maybe.
You can start with, Spire.
It's like no, it's not that. Okay, maybe it's that low.
Spire, you start with Double, then you go to O's, then you go to Forze, then you watch maybe some of Wizard, then Gaim, then Drive.
Okay.
You can skip Ghost, then Xaid, then Build, then 01. You could probably skip Saber. You watch Revice, now
Definitely
you just
skip
watch Geats.
Saber. You can absolutely skip Saber.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, then you double
Is
back.
is
you
Double
watch
the actually the start of it? Like I'm not like I'm
Is
like
what
being
the start
super
of?
unironic
What?
right now. Do you actually start with just Double? Like can you just?
You can start
I
with
mean,
Double.
for the modern
Okay.
stuff, yeah. Like, you really
Okay.
don't need to watch anything else. I mean, you don't need to watch anything before you start, like, a new one. But
Yeah,
like-
they're like Dark
as
said,
far
you
as,
can
like,
double
what's
back.
worth watching, like, you don't need to watch... Well, basically, there's only really two recently that aren't worth watching, and it's Ghost and Saber.
Okay.
You can yeah. Then you go back to Agito. You can watch Faiz, then Kabuto. I don't know about Hibiki.
Is there like a guide to
Hibiki
this
might
online?
skip.
Like I'm like
mean,
not
it's
even
really,
joking.
like,
Is there a
I mean, it's
guide
not
to
even like
this
a
online?
chronological like watch order. This is just like what's important to get
It's
get through first.
but the way that Toast listed it, it's like I have to watch like everything.
Why not?
Well, yeah,
I
I
like
mean,
end up having to
should,
watch
why
everything
not?
anyways. Yeah, it's like I don't. I guess, but also
Double
I.
Double is the start of the tonal shift between Kamen Riders because if you look from freaking Kuga to Decade, there's a lot of gray in the opening. You know, it's
Also, fuck,
definitely.
fuck Decade. Okay, I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'm gonna take the hard stance
The
of
writer's
Decade
cool
can
though.
fuck off. Yeah, I mean it is, but
The writer's cool,
Okay.
but the series, and not so much.
Well,
series kind of
I'll
mid.
try watch. Try watching a few episodes of Double to see how it pans out. But going back to the actual 2 weeks,
Oh,
Toast, how have your 2 weeks been?
what did I say? I watched Gates. Gates episode 1, pretty good.
hmm
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Anything else?
It's been 2 weeks? I don't know. Well, $3 movies was yesterday. Why didn't you guys watch movies?
Yes. A bunch of discounts across the nation, across popular big theater brands, and all the movies were like $3 or
Guys
whatever it
watch
was.
movies?
No, because
Why
I
not?
don't go to the movies
Not these
anymore.
days. Yeah.
Because
Also, the thing is,
why would
what's
I
been
go to the
happening
movies when
recently?
I can just like kind of watch it at home on Disney Plus? You know.
Also, what happens is like a lot of times, um, if something really good like comes out, right, or like something really popular comes out, what ends up happening is I just there's like a million clips of like all the episodes on YouTube, and I just kind of like end up being like, oh, okay, well, this is what happened because I watch like end up like watching all the clips. You know what I mean?
Spider's the type of guy out here watching movie recaps.
Ah, fuck. I don't like the weird thing is I don't like watching movie recap very much, but I really like just going through like a billion clips that are all overlapping in a very shitty way. You know what I mean? Like part
Yeah, this
one
guy's
of
like
like
watching
eight.
like Watch Mojo clips
It's like yeah,
religiously.
exactly. It's like the shittiest way to watch a movie or like watch a series, but I do it anyways because I'm dumb. But yeah.
But yeah,
Um,
apparently there was 11. I watched Spider-Man. There's
uh-huh.
11 extra minutes. Apparently, I don't know where they were with
11 extra minutes in Spider-Man? What the fuck could they possibly?
I don't know. I think there was just some extended scene somewhere because I checked
Hmm.
and sure,
Yeah, that
more
seems
banter,
kind of
more banter between the characters of the movie. I guess.
Spider-Man's.
Right.
What else?
Huh?
Oh, I checked out that one cool VN that was on
What is?
sale
Well, I'm almost afraid to ask. What is that? What is that cool
from
VN?
JST USA.
That's not helping. You're not like reassuring me anymore by giving me the name of that publisher.
You're not interested in EQ Succubus
What?
or elf wives cheat to ride my meat
Wait, what
or
was the name of
Oh
the
yeah.
first one? I like legitimately did not hear what.
EQ Succubus. Get it?
Iku. Oh,
There
okay.
was also a
Yeah.
Pirate Booty and the Bukake Buccaneer. I like that title. But yeah,
These all kind of seem. What the? Okay, so what the hell is
but,
this?
but
Oh
the main
god, these
attraction
images don't look good. God damn it. Okay.
the main attraction was Inyochu. Is that how it's called?
What? Oh yeah, in YouTube, I think so. Yeah.
Inyochu, insects of
God, that was
insemination.
fucked up. That was not good. I saw that and I was like, so Toast like asked me earlier, or not earlier, a couple days ago. It's like, what's the best insect visual novel? I was like, I don't really want to think about it, so I just gave him a meme answer. And then later on, he gave me this visual novel that was apparently like, was it just published or like,
It's
or
a
just
apparently
localized? Sorry.
just
Um,
localized, and it's the remake of the original. That's what I'm hearing.
and it's like insect insemination or something. I was like, "Ugh, what the hell is going on? Like, we are straying
This has
so
been
far from
going on,
Jesus.
friend.
We are
I
straying
I,
so
I
far from
checked it out,
Jesus.
and I'll just say, I like the non-insect parts.
I think I think at that point you should choose to play a non-insect visual novel. I think that's
rest-
the correct choice, right?
The rest
I
was
mean,
like, no thanks, I'm not interested in this. But the non bug parts are good.
yeah, I think that's standard for most experiences. The non-bug parts are good. I don't think it has to be just visual novels. But yeah.
But I'm kind of interested in the elf one. I like that title.
Yeah.
If
Oh
you
yes,
didn't hear near
Secretary. Yeah.
one of the titles that I like is called Elf Wives Cheat to Ride My Meat,
Yeah.
or or do you like Pirate Booty and the Bukake Buccaneer? They're all on sale right now, 20% off.
Sounds like a deal.
Yeah, I'll link it. Here you go, right here. Bam.
Dude, that's not on Steam. Yikes. The
Is
premier
it?
visual novel platform? Or are these Steam keys? These might be Steam keys.
They said DRM free, and yes, it's on Steam. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure Jazz like tries to get Steam whenever possible for
It's either
obvious reasons.
or Steam or like what's that recent one that's come out? Isn't it like there's like some like weird DRM fucking bullshit platform, right?
Yeah, like the like
Joran or whatever?
yeah.
But there's no sale on Steam. It's not 20% off. It's $12 full, but only $9.59.
Yeah.
But yeah,
All right.
in your I'll rate it a 6 out of 10. It's all right. If you skip the bug parts, I guess.
All right, so pretty quiet except for theater stuff and some bug stuff, which I'm glad you enjoy the non-bug parts as you should. I think most people would enjoy the non-bug parts a lot more than the bug parts.
Did you know? Let me find. Did you know they made like 6 versions of Inyochu back in the day? Is it?
What?
Let's see,
You know, between
one,
this
two,
and Bug Island.
there's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 episodes of Inyochu, and they're all it's kind of like the Asagi syndrome, where there's Shoku, the regular, Etsu, Shoku again, and bonus. I don't know what those means.
All right. Well,
But yeah.
anyways, I do want to get away from the bug topic, so thank you, Toast, for your 2 weeks. And moving on, Nier has arrived on the scene here.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Nier,
Your
how's
2 weeks?
Canada? I heard there's big Canada news.
Well,
You
dangerous
okay?
Canada news, but I don't. Thankfully, I don't think he was in the region where it happened. But
Yeah.
your 2 weeks otherwise.
Well, I've been pretty busy with Final Fantasy. I have been raiding. So currently I am basically raiding pretty much every night of the week minus Tuesday.
Is Tuesday the reset day or is it Thursday?
So resets
Tuesday's
happen
reset.
Monday night.
Alright.
So it's basically Tuesday, yeah. But yeah, I'm
You notice how
currently
most things reset on Tuesday or Thursday? What's up with that?
I don't know.
I would
Could have to
assume
do with-
I would assume financials, like how shit releases on
it could be,
Tuesdays.
yeah.
They want to like bump their like MAUs and shit, stuff like that.
Yeah, but I'm currently in 2 groups now for raiding. I'm in my ultimate group, which is Thursday to Sunday, most of the time, ideally. And then I'm in Savage group, which is Mondays and Wednesdays. So that's fun. Pretty busy. Other than that, I got a little bit more back into Shadowverse a little bit more, like a little bit more hardcore.
What's the deal with that? What's the deal with the meme leader that everyone likes?
Oh, the Chikawa crossover. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know why they did that crossover. I guess it's. I mean, that stuff's pretty popular in Japan, I guess, but
Did
pretty
you buy it?
random. I did not buy it.
Sure. I heard it's
Um,
pretty cool.
I mean, the leaders they're fucking everywhere. Like they're legit everywhere. The Portal Crash one is incredibly popular because it screams constantly. It's very loud.
Wait, this is
Uh,
wait. Are you talking about wait? Which ones are you talking about? The
The-
Musume ones? No.
the Chikawa crossover in Shadowverse.
What crossover?
Chikawa. I mean, I don't
You
know
didn't
if you've
see
seen
that?
it. Like
That
Pop
like
Guy's
little
been posting
animated
it.
like freak, right?
Yeah, the weird little like animated rabbit things.
Chico puzzle? What the fuck? Oh,
Yeah.
this thing. What the fuck?
Yeah, so they did a collab with Shadowverse. I'm not sure why. It's completely out of nowhere. They're
Here's
not
fire if
free
you forgot.
either. They're not, like the leaders aren't free.
Here, this
You
one.
gotta buy them. But yeah, they're really popular. The Japanese audience seems to
Yeah,
absolutely
Japanese
fucking love
audience.
these things.
Yeah, I put an image in chat. Just
When are they
showing
doing
the-
a mole car crossover though?
I'm honestly surprised that it like wasn't. Because as far as I was aware, like Molcar was a bit more popular than these things, but I guess not. Yeah, they're everywhere. But other than that, I made the I guess resurged Latica deck, and I got like an 8 or 9 win streak in ranked, so that was pretty cool.
Nice.
But other than that, pretty much just all Final Fantasy, basically.
Yeah, which is pretty standard.
Yeah.
Okay, so pretty good, pretty good. Well, thank you very much, Near, for your 2 weeks. And what about you, Dark? 2 weeks, please.
I too have been playing Final Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hold on a sec.
So-
Hold on, Near. Did you watch Geats?
I did not watch the first episode.
You should
no,
watch Geats.
probably.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I did. I watched Geet. Been keeping up with Food OP. Been keeping up with Joshin Chen. Playing a lot of Tower of Fantasy.
You've been getting angry
I-
at people over Tower of
Oh my
Fantasy, I
god,
think.
dude! I've been going to war yet again. I've been shipped out to talk to
Fuck
people
Lord of
about
the Rings.
how
You're the
fucking
ones who are going to
retarded they are.
you're the
Yeah,
ones
like-
going to Isengard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, well, Lord of the Rings, like people are trying to go to war for fucking rings of power, like it fucking matters. I'm like,
you know,
"Alright,
like
listen."
the ants.
talking
You know,
about, like,
like the ants are like
"Ooh,
marching. Yeah, like
Yeah,
you're the
and
one.
then
You're
there's
the ants
well,
right
there's
now.
also like the rings of power culture war, where people are like, the fucking dwarves don't have beards, but really, what they're complaining about is that there are black elves in it, but they just don't want to say that. So they go to like the
These
dwarves
elves
don't
are
have
very
beards.
suspicious.
Yeah,
It's
they're
like,
like the
I don't know if they're the dark
female
elves that I want.
dwarves.
Wait,
Yeah,
they're
like the
actually
female
dark elves?
dwarves don't have beards, but again, that's the
Wait,
Venn diagram is a solid circle of people being like the dwarves don't have beards. Also, secretly are like, also there are black elves in this. I don't know about that.
Are they dark elves or just actual black elves?
I think they're just
Yeah.
elves, but they're black.
Yeah, they're
but
just
people
Yeah,
are
there are no
like,
dark elves in Lord of the
Um,
Rings. It's
there
it's
are.
like no, I mean they're like elves that are corrupted by Sauron, but it's or by Morgoth, but there aren't
Yeah, I think
like
it's like technically there are no like they're not supposed to be like fair skinned like I mean or rather they're only supposed to be like fair skinned elves essentially.
yeah.
So
No,
the
like all
same
these
thing
people
that
are just
where,
like
blood
I
elves
don't
have,
know
they're
if
just
like the I don't know
I
about
mean,
these elves.
I don't know.
There's-
In my opinion, it's similar situation to like the Witcher Netflix series, where it's like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, sure, the source material never like said that there were black elves, but it's also like, is it really that big of a deal? Like,
yeah. I mean
you know?
plus I mean I don't know. Personally
exactly.
it also depends on what they want to do with the series too, right? Because like you could even write a compelling story of like like no, it wouldn't be like interracial. Like what would you call that like same race but still like like colorism essentially in elves or something too. Like if you
Yeah.
really wanted to do that as well, like if you wanted
they
to tell that
could,
story,
but
that opens it up too. But
Gee,
it's
it's almost like it's almost
doesn't
like they
matter.
didn't think of how old J.R.R. Tolkien is and if he's ever seen a colored person.
yeah.
Or considered them to be part of a story realistically. But yeah, so I've been going to war with that. I've been having some very interesting discourse, like being told that you can totally bitch and moan about gotcha costumes being fucking $30, and that might change something because that's how capitalism works.
For
I
sure.
was told that verbatim, to which my
We
rebuttal
gotta
is
fight the good fight.
that's literally not how capitalism works. And it's hilarious that someone still thinks that. But yeah, so you know.
But yeah, okay,
But yeah,
pretty
other than
good.
that, been also playing Final Fantasy because I am in the same Savage static as Nier. So I've just been kind of
Who's
like reviewing
who's
videos
the
and shit in between.
who's the better DPS?
I'm a
Nier's a
tank,
tank. I'm a DPS. So you know.
but I'm still
Who?
better.
Okay.
I wasn't running meters, but you know, I'm probably also doing better than Sin when you think about it. Because I'm
Yeah.
just that good. I'll just out DPS the fucking
Top DPS.
top damaging class in the game.
I think it's Samurai's back on top now.
Oh, Samurai's on top again? Okay,
I
well,
think
we're
so.
gonna have to make some changes then. He's gonna have to re-roll, and he knows it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's been fun. I haven't really been doing anything else in FF just because, like, I don't know, after doing like a Night of Savage and then just like my dailies and shit, and just, or well, capping off my weeklies and stuff, I kind of am just like, do I really want to do the island right now? Like, do I want to do that? And I'm just kind of like, I'd rather play like Spider-Man, Tower of Fantasy, Apex, stuff like that. Oh yeah, and then I've also gained the title of him now from Zoomers, so that's been pretty cool. Yeah, I've done so well in Apex that I've been called him. So that's
That's
a
badge of honor.
big achievement. Yeah.
All right. Well, again, thank you, Dark, for your 2 weeks, and mine is pretty whatever. It's been just mainly past 2 weeks has been just running around. I had to finish a project in real life. Do some
Did you
study
win?
stuff. Yes, I won all the things. Thank you very much, Toast. Um, not much else going on. Oh, some like I've been. I don't really. The thing is, it's like I do voice actor stuff. I'm like a huge like voice actor nerd or otaku, but it's like I don't really like delve into the ASMR stuff that much, like on YouTube, where it's like ASMR of whatever it is, the bubble stuff or whatever it is, right? Like I don't really do that stuff. But recently I got wind of the Amagami voice actors, or the Amagami brand hiring the voice actresses to do like voice CD drama stuff. And because I am a huge Amagami fan, I started to get on the hunt. But as per usual, like many things
Oh,
in Japan that
Amagami
are otaku.
featuring famous Lux voice actress
Yeah.
Shizuka Ito.
Dark was pretty angry because what was it? It's like
Bro, I see
who was
those.
it? It's like
I fucking hate that website. I think
I see
whoever
was it
made
those.
Shizuka
that
Ito?
website needs
Yeah,
to be
I see
fucking
those
dunked in
posts.
acid.
I see those posts all the time on Reddit where, you'll get like it's just like, yeah, like happy birthday to like this famous voice actor, and then there will be like a bunch of like notable, quote unquote, notable roles like in the image,
Oh yeah,
and
those.
it will literally be like the most random shit you've never heard of, where it's like, because the one
And then
Dark
League of
linked, it
Legends.
was like,
And then League of
yeah, it
Legends.
was like Shizuka Ito, known for dubbing Lux in League of Legends. It's like, no,
And
no,
prison
she's not.
school. It's like,
Like
guys,
they are
like,
not known for that.
Yeah.
No one uses the league. If you use the league JP dub, you're a fucking loser. Okay.
Yeah.
I am a big proponent for JP dubs in games, but if you're doing that in League, you
You're just a
fucking
nerd.
suck.
Yeah. You're
Like,
you're just a fucking dweeb.
yeah,
Sorry.
like you literally don't know what a good dub is, and you hear Japanese voices, probably don't understand a lick
Yes,
of what anyone's
yes.
saying, and you go, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Riot didn't
It's
pay $1 billion for League of Legends voice acting for you to fucking turn it on to JP."
but yeah,
Just play Paladins with the Amelia Watson announcer. Same thing.
hmm. But yeah, I was just my opinion on it was just like what was it? Like it's okay for people to like not know voice actors or actresses. Like I'm perfectly fine with that, and it's also okay for like people to be like, oh, that's like Kirito's voice, or like that's Gitoki's voice, or whatever, right? That it's like perfectly fine with me. But don't be like, oh yeah, bro, here's the Seiyu. Like I know about this Seiyu, and it's like all these roles. And it's like, bro, you don't know shit. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like
Yeah.
again, it's like you don't like listen. If you want to say, "Oh yeah, this is awesome," like this is the same voice actress as like this character I like, and it could be like a
Mm,
really like a fringe character or something, and that's
mm.
fine. But when you're out here being like, "Oh yeah, this gotcha character is voiced by this character," or is voiced by this Seiyu, and your fucking like collage is like half just nothing fucking roles, like.
Yeah,
Okay.
Schoolgirl 1 in like Blue Archive, and you're like, I don't know if
Like I
that's.
literally could have chose it's like you literally could have just run down the list of Mall and sort by like user rating and it would have been fucking better.
Yeah, exactly.
Dark, you mean
But
this one
anyways,
from
um,
Crunchyroll?
which one's this one?
No, I mean that's even better.
Why?
That's like way
Yeah,
better.
that's still better because it has like the
It's still
Jormungand has.
it's not like great, but it has
Yeah.
Amagami, it's got fucking Food Wars,
It
it's
has
got
Okami-san. Okay, that's interesting.
yeah, it
Yeah,
has
that's
Okami-san, it has Sailor Moon.
yeah,
So it's like, okay, good.
yeah. I think the important ones that you probably need to hit
And
are
Fate.
is like, yeah. It's like Fate. Akeno is like okay, but Hinagiku Morishima, the two are like those two you need to hit. Yormungun is okay bonus, is a good bonus. Okami-san is a good bonus. Kanzaki Kari is a good bonus. But yeah, it's like
Yeah, and I mean
yeah,
it's also the intentionality of like the roles that you're choosing too,
mm.
because it's like,
I
why
mean
are you
this
out
one?
here? You're really gonna be out here, and you're gonna be like, hey, this new character is like a
Why are there like 5 pictures of like her essentially in the same essentially
yeah,
like the
and why do
same
they
photo?
keep using prison school? Like, why is it always prison school? Who
Because it's
cares?
popular.
No, is it?
I mean, it's like
It
Is the
it's
prison
is.
pretty
school anime
popular.
still
But
It
popular?
is.
yeah, the thing like this one doesn't annoy me that much. Like the more annoying part about this picture that Toast just posted is the fact that like you like they literally dedicated 50% of the picture to like having essentially
To
all the same
Shizuka
thing.
Ito. Like, yeah, I've seen. I know what
Like,
Shizuka
I know what
Ito
her face
looks
looks like. Yeah, exactly. Why is half her face covering this stuff? Yeah. Anyways, there wasn't really much else going on. Pretty quiet. Um, Amagami stuff. I've been fiending trying to download it, but it's like $20 a pop too, which is like I don't necessarily like paying that much. But I mean, DL site stuff is like also pretty similar. It's like anywhere from like 7 to like 16, $17 ish or
Oh, DL
whatever.
site. What's your recommendations?
Um, I've mostly just looked at like the Kadokawa stuff. Like you know how on DL site like Kadokawa and like the other big publishers like actually publish stuff there sometimes, like by voice actresses. But
I should look
like
at the
they'll
games. Why am I in Dojin? Here we go.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm
What
not gonna
about
look at the games,
the
but
first thing I see on the when I went to the site is Goblin Burrow Complete Edition.
yeah, I don't know about playing that, but
Oh,
yeah. Anyways,
wait, I knew Tsunagi. Hold on a minute.
all right. Anyways, that it's
Nice.
pretty much it's been pretty quiet for me so far. So that's pretty much been it. And I guess moving on, then we should Just
Oh
scoot
wait,
right
you don't
on.
have any VN recommendations, Fire?
No, I did not have. There's some. The thing is, fuck, I downloaded this one recently, and I do want to play it. It's like the one that got like a bunch of awards recently. Not recently, but like
Ray
in
I something what's it
yeah,
called?
Renai, like it's the one where it's like they try to make it's like another one of those things where it's like each of the girls does like a specific like job thing, like or like a vocation, right? Like writing or like singing or like voice acting or whatever it is, right? It's like that one.
Relief, Shin, that one?
Relief?
Relief? Is that the one you're talking about?
I don't. Can you link it?
This one.
Uh,
The one on Steam. Here you go. This one.
no, that's not what. That's not the one
But
I'm
it
talking about.
says
It's
Dark Horse of the Year 2016.
hardcore. Well, there are a lot of things that Steam people say, so you know. But yeah, there's another one. It's gotten a couple of awards. It's like I didn't think it was that good before, but I'm gonna see if I can check it out just because there's been a lot of buzz over it. But I mean, people also get put a lot have a lot of people also make a lot of noise around stuff like Ubisoft, and I've had a decidedly like pretty heavy bias against Ubisoft series as well. So I don't know. I'll check it out maybe, but other than that, I don't have.
Which one's Ubisoft? What do they do?
Ubisoft did recently they did Stella Cafe. I think is their most recent one,
Cafe
right?
Stella and the Reaper's Butterflies.
Yes, yes, I believe that's the.
But Smart, you can buy the bundle for $136. Say $15.
Wow.
But yeah. Anyways, again,
Oh,
not much
yeah,
going on.
all right. Never mind. I'll do it later.
Yeah. Anyways, that was it for me for the. Oh, here it is. Okay, it's like fuck. It's like 創作彼女の恋愛公式. I forget what's the freaking English title for this stupid thing. VNDB here. Yeah, 創作彼女の恋愛公式, also known as.
Korean girls started to walk.
What the
Arrow.
fuck is this localized title? What?
What?
Is this? Wait, okay, look at this, guys. I posted this in chat. Is this really the localized title? No way. Oh, wait, it hasn't been localized yet. Thank God. I was like, oh my God. No, that's just the sub. That's just the subtitle, the caption below it. You see how there's like the English title thing below it. I was like panicking. I was like, did somebody localize it into that title?
Create girls started to walk. What does
But
that
yeah,
mean?
no, I don't know. It's like some stupid. You know how you see how it be in at the bottom of the poster
Yeah,
art. It's like that English. You know how Japanese people are with their English
I
bullshit.
I did.
Yeah, but yeah, this one I apparently got a bunch of awards, so I want to maybe check it out. But when I initially saw like the music video, or not the music video, the promotion trailer, like when it was being announced, right? Like even before this was actually released. I wasn't that impressed by it, but you know, I'll maybe check it out. Like I've never been really that impressed with premises like this, but it's an actual like you know relatively lengthy visual novel. It's not that lengthy compared to previous stuff, but it's like not like one of those like short like fan disc length visual novels that are just popping out recently. It's a little bit longer, so I'll check it out. So hopefully it'll be good. Cross fingers. So
Enter the.
yeah.
Did you enter the Neko Arc tourney that I've been hearing so much about?
Neko arc what?
The
Neko.
Neko Arc tournament.
Oh no, I did not enter that tournament.
The big
I think my sanity would have been in danger had I
neon
entered
blit.
that. No, did not. But yeah. Anyways, that was it for my 2 weeks, and let's just move on real quickly to Dark. What do you have for us today?
I have Kumichou Musume to Sewagakari, which
Yes,
is
or
Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting.
yes.
And this is a slice of life series about a man named Kirishima, who is notorious for being a like very hot-headed, violent yakuza. He's known as the Demon of Sakuragi,
Uh-huh.
and he is not afraid to resort to violence deemed necessary. Almost jeopardizes a peace treaty in the beginning of the show between two Yakuza groups, two Yakuza families, and his boss decides to order him to be the bodyguard and babysitter of his 7-year-old daughter, Yaika.
Okay.
And
So
the show kind of
this
just
is a
goes from there.
yeah. So this is a manga original, co-produced by Feel Studios and Gaina
And Gaia, yeah.
Studios. Yes, I don't know what Gaina has mainly been doing like secondary stuff, like not like a lot of like major stuff. Oh, they helped with or yeah, they helped with the main production of the second season of Piano no Mori or Piano no Mori, the one where it's like the weird like genius goes into like the forest to play like the broken piano or whatever the hell it is
Yeah.
that anime manga was. They did that. They helped with like a movie Uru in Blue and some like Bottle Man, some other stuff. But they've mainly been doing some in betweens. Field Studios, obviously, I don't really need to point that out again. Manga original, and yeah, sorry. So this is that's the initial premise, right? You said the initial sort of fierce guy. Do they show him like in like the fierce state before he gets
Yeah,
used
he
to?
beats.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean the show opens up with him basically almost ruining the peace treaty.
Okay.
The classic Yakuza bit of like they roll up to the building. It's the same exact looking building that you've seen in any Yakuza media, and then it's just him beating the shit out of people inside.
Okay.
Doesn't kill anyone though, obviously. Can't do that.
Wow.
Yakuza never kill people.
Yeah.
Unless they're the bad guys, which then they might kill someone. But then the good Yakuza would never do such a thing out of revenge and shows mercy.
The good yeah. The
Kiryu
honest
has
one.
never killed anyone.
Yeah.
The
So
so I'm going to start you off. Like I know, like obviously you're going to explain this, but I want a little bit more of an interesting bend to it. So I'll give you a better springboard to jump off from, and the springboard is the very obvious question. So somebody's going to come along, right? Let's say I am your average Crunchyroll fan, right? And I come along and you're talking about this, right? The Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting, and I ask you the very obvious question that any anime fan would ask: what's the difference between this and Way of the House Husband, bro? It looks like the same series to me.
well, Way of the House Husband didn't get an anime, which is really
That
sad.
is that's so true.
So that's the first difference. You actually watch this one.
Yeah, is that a PowerPoint? Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that.
Hmm.
House Husband, I would say probably is I mean, it's different because House Husband is it's the idea of the Yakuza mellowing out essentially
Uh-huh.
and being more like home oriented, whereas this is like, I mean, this is similar in some ways, but in others it's not really like super family. Now, I haven't seen House Husband or read it, but I'm assuming House Husband has a lot more, I mean, just from the looks of it, like homekeeping, like housekeeping trivia, right? Or like housekeeping stuff.
Well,
Where
it's
there would
more
be
just like
cooking, cleaning,
well, there's like
dealing with, I
cooking.
assume, his wife and his like daughter or child.
Yeah,
right?
there's some of that, but it's like a lot of it's just like him like being chill and then coming across really shitty situations because he's like
He doesn't have a
from
he doesn't have a daughter or child, but he does have a
Oh,
flunky that he used to be in
yeah.
his gang. But he's like, I'm out of the gang now. He's like, okay, I'll still follow you.
Yeah,
And it's
but
like
yeah,
this isn't
essentially
how the
most of it's
Yakuza
just like
does
him
things.
dealing. Yeah, most of it him coming across like really fucked up shit happening. Not really fucked up, but it's like random like disturbances and like social like bad stuff happening across his way, like hindrances to him doing the house husband stuff because partly because he's a former Yakuza member. So
okay.
that's sort of yeah.
But yeah, so this is similar because it is split where like, he does the bodyguard duties, so he comes across like rivals and he's kind of trying to shield the daughter from that. So there's like one scene where he plays like hide and seek with her, and then as she goes to hide, he beats up two dudes like, in like 3 seconds, and then goes back to like playing hide and seek, shit like that. But yeah, so overall, it is a similar, definitely a similar series in that regard. Though the other major point of the series is a lot of um, him sort of mellowing out. Well, not really mellowing out, but becoming less like chaotic as a Yakuza member, essentially due to her, like showing like, he shows mercy at one point. And like other people around him, like his friend in the Yakuza, K, is like really surprised that he let this dude go after beating him up when normally you would just, either put him in the fucking hospital or kill him.
Right,
Um,
right.
so there's that aspect to it. There's the aspect of him sort of like, actually being I guess like a core like father figure to the girl as well. Because for a lot of reasons, since the father is like the head of the Yakuza family, he doesn't just go out, right? He can't go to her like parent teacher thing and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So he kind of goes in that stead and is more of that father figure, but also like, I guess like in some ways like trying to offer her like a different perspective on things, and which I guess is still like more of a mentor father role. But yeah, there's just some like other moments where like her mom, and this is a minor spoiler for episode 2 or 3, I think. But her mom is in a coma, and since she's 7, and her mom's been in a coma since she's been like 2 or 3. Her perspective on it was like she doesn't want to go with her dad to the hospital because he's always sad when he goes, and it's what is her line? It's something like, like she like if she loved me, like why isn't she waking up? Shit
Mhm.
like that. But the main character Toru flips her perspective on it and tells like this story of like, she's been cursed by like a god, and she's doing everything she can to try to wake up, even though she might not, just so that she can see you again. So there's like a lot of moments like that where he's essentially um, trying to like sort of like monologue to himself in a way and like really think through how to do this right, essentially.
Yeah, and not just like explode, right?
Yeah, not like half-ass this or like, just do like a random Yakuza perspective on it or something like that.
Mhm.
A lot of like Yakuza stuff doesn't really come into play during those parts. It's kind of like the Yakuza stuff is kind of more of the flip side where a scenario like some shit might happen that he has to take care of. Like when he, shows mercy, and then what I think is also kind of interesting is he immediately does have that sort of um acceptance that this is changing him and how he functions, which
Mhm.
was the whole point of the like job anyway. It's like the
Mhm.
boss, the Yakuza boss is like, you need to like learn responsibility and like how to essentially compose yourself. And so that is happening, which I think is
So my
pretty
do you
interesting
so I
to happen
so
fast enough for a character to identify that right away. But yeah.
so I have a there's a standard event that happens in these sorts of series with the sort of development that you're describing. And I'm afraid of that happening, and especially if slash when it does happen, it happening in a bad way. Um, do you know what event I'm talking about? Are you hive mending with me right now?
Are you
Do you
talking
know the
about the
type of event?
like the kidnapping that's eventually going to happen?
Yeah, the kidnapping or some sort of like conflict where it's like, oh, you have to do your Yakuza thing to like really solve this problem. And then he has to like battle within his mind whether to be like the pacifist or whether he wants to, go down the dark path or whatever the fuck,
I
right?
mean, I
Again.
think that's going to happen, but I think they've already kind of skirted around that by doing like the mercy thing already, where,
Hmm.
so like the scenario that happened was two people were hired from a different family to have them go around and like pretend to be him and his friend Kay and essentially like
Hmm.
sully the name of the family that they're from. Um, but instead of, and so like that's the thing where like, Kay was surprised that Toru even let that guy live. Because, like, not
Hmm.
only was that guy, like, essentially an enemy from a different family, he was also actively sabotaging his name. And, like, his whole purpose was to make him, like, look like a piece of shit.
Right.
And so, like, that's already happened. Plus, there's the whole thing of him trying to juggle, like, the hide and seek while beating up the other dudes. Like, the two other Yakuza guys that were tailing them.
Hmm.
I think what is coming up to what I'm up to now in episode like 5 or 6 is that another like family head or another like seedy individual, and I'm not sure what exactly they are yet to them, but
Hmm.
he seems to be showing up. It ended on like a really imposing shot of him where he's just like, like, oh, Toru, like you've changed, but like I'm gonna drag the demon out or whatever. Um,
Yeah,
so I don't
very
think there's gonna
standard.
be I don't think there's gonna be like a sort of like him trying to juggle like, oh, what should I do? I think what's gonna happen is he's gonna like whatever happens is he's gonna beat the guy like near death and then stop and be like, no, I have changed. Like you're not gonna
Remember,
make me like.
he'll flash back to like
No, I don't think
the
he's
case
even
of
gonna
the kid.
flash back. I think he's just not gonna or there might be like a sort of him like thinking of her like while he's doing
Face.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't think it's gonna be like him being like, no, I can't do this. I've changed. I think it's going to be more of like no, like you're not going to drag me out because I have like gone through this change. And
Right,
it's
right,
not going to be
exactly.
easy for you to like drag me back into this essentially.
Right, right. Okay. In
But
terms
yeah, I
of
think I
the
think that's what that initial introspection like really sort of like that quick introspection set up. I don't think we're going to have like a sort of epiphany since he's already had it.
right. In
And I think
terms
it was
of the
cool that that
audio,
was in a mellow way. Is the other thing
well,
to
yeah,
say with
because
that.
the thing is the issue is it's like it has to keep its like tone because it does have still a very like general not a slice of life but like a slow tempo tone, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not one of
yeah.
those
It's
series
not
where it's
a.
like,
It
oh,
is
there's a
not like
secret police or
serious
whatever.
yakuza like shit.
Yeah,
Like it is
exactly.
very. It is very much like there's yakuza stuff going on, but it's not. It's not trying to be like this serious like yakuza drama or
Right,
anything
exactly.
really. I think later on in the series, like one of the bits is that Yaika is best friends with a police officer's daughter, right? So there's going to
Hmm.
be like those two are going to be bouncing off of each other, I'm sure as well.
Right.
I would compare it to Spy Family in that sense, where
Hmm.
it's not really taking those aspects of it super like to a like a dark tone. It is definitely preserving that tone.
Right, right, right. In terms of the audio visuals, could you just give us just a few words on it?
Very good. I would say
See?
they're really really good. Um, I can't really compare it to much. The I would say the thing that I'm not crazy over, I don't think I'm really like I'm not really crazy over the character design, especially the main character.
Mhm.
Um, I don't really know why. I think it might just be because I want someone who looks like house husband Yakuza in a series like this. Like I don't
Right.
want the like young hot blood.
You just
Like I
want
want the
you don't
fucking
want just like hair parted back and then that's it. That's like
yeah, I want the old dude essentially. Like
Oh, you want the age gap of sorts, like you want the
yeah,
sort of
or
like
like the
grunge,
weathered
like
guy.
veteran.
Like I
Yeah,
want
yeah, yeah.
or like the dude from what was it called? Was Hinamatsuri? Was that the name of the series? Near?
Are
Was
you
that what it was
think
called?
Yeah, Hinamatsuri.
Yeah, Hinamatsuri. Like I want like that type of guy where it's like he's not like the fresh blood. No,
right?
this guy
Okay,
isn't the fresh blood, but the way he looks like he is. Like they made him
right,
look
exactly.
very, very young.
You want a little bit more of like the tonal gap and like, oh, you pull me out for this shit again, kind of like you want that sort of tone going on.
Yeah, or just like in general, like a like not really like the hot-blooded character, but like the cool-headed like Yakuza character, like the pragmatic,
Mhm.
and stuff like that. But I would say the other issue I have with the series
I
is I
feel like
honestly don't like.
if they didn't give him the glasses, I think he'd be a lot more along those lines. But I feel like I don't know, something about the glasses just make him look
He looks young,
weird.
like he looks like a
Yeah,
teenager, like.
Yeah.
because I think
But
without the glasses, he's got the thin eyes, he's got the like big forehead, because he's got the slick back hair, right? I think he looks
yeah,
like obviously he doesn't look old, but he still looks, um,
yeah, he looks older, like he looks like a
yeah.
more.
I think if they didn't rock the glasses, like it would be a lot
Yeah.
more in line. But
But yeah, so other than that, my biggest my biggest gripe with the series were like I was literally like halfway through episode 1 and I was like I don't know if I'm even going to be able to keep up with this. And I still don't know if I can, honestly. Like it's kind of a struggle. Is Yoshimasa Hosoya's performance here is like I can only call it abysmal, honestly. Like and it has to be because
Really?
I
It's
think
is it that bad?
it's fucking
Holy
awful.
shit!
It's
I
so
gotta listen to it now.
fucking
Fuck.
boring. It's
God, dude.
unbelievable.
The
Like,
issue is also Yoshimasa Hosoda's voice is sort of like that, like you want him to be like that gruff, like Ototo, like almost like a gruff younger brother, kind of like tsundere, like that. It's like that almost like monotone-ish like voice, right? You want that gruff monotone voice, but if you treat it's like a stubborn racehorse. If you treat it poorly with the sound director, like it's gone.
oh
Like
no, it's
that
being
it's
treated
going to
poorly
shit.
because he could have
Yeah, yeah,
just done
exactly.
Dopo. He could have just done the same thing he does as Dopo and Bungo Stray Dogs, and it would have been
Right,
perfect. Because
right,
there
right,
are
exactly.
times when Dopo loses his shit. But even
Mm,
in the quote unquote hot headed scenes, he's talking very slowly, very monotone. And it
right,
sounds
exactly.
like ASMR Yakuza man kicks your ass. Like it's not the tonal shift that you want like for this
Right,
character to
right.
have between him like mellowing out with this girl and then him doing his Yakuza shit.
Mhm. Right, exactly.
So that's the unfortunate part. I don't know if off the top of my head I could really name a role that is similar. I guess the only thing I could say is take like I guess yeah, like take Dopo from Bungo Stray Dogs and never make him get any bit like excited. And that's it. That's the only thing. And it's absurd to me because of how many roles he's done where
Yeah,
they've
yeah, exactly.
bounced between those.
Also, again, yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate again because it's part of the I don't want to say like poor treatment, but it's like a lot of sound directors and stuff like that still don't really know or like they don't really necessarily do a lot of like research or really like treat the voice actors to their full potential. So sometimes stuff like this does end up happening, which is unfortunate.
I mean, he's not the. I think the other problem is too is that he's not the. This isn't the visually the character, nor do I think vocally, Yoshimasa can do this. He's not the type of character that's like is that monotone or like not even monotone, but like soft spoken menacing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you need to pull out fucking Suda Kenjiro or something for that. Like you're
Do
not.
you what do you like? What direction do you think they gave him? Because to me,
I think they
it
gave him
almost
to try
seems
and
like
be like the.
it almost seems like they wanted him to do like a Kiryu, but like they didn't
Yeah,
really
it
give
doesn't.
him like they didn't really guide him in that direction. They were kind of just like, yeah, like don't emote.
Yeah, that's
Just be
what it
stern, just be
seems like.
gruff. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it seems like they want him to be like. Well, it's weird because I can't tell if they want him to be. Because like they gave him the vocal direction as if he was Kiryu, but then they like make his character out to be Majima, right? If we're gonna use
Right.
just a Yakuza like thing here, where he's supposed to be like this crazy hot-blooded guy, and it's like, but he's like not emoting in this scene, and this is weird, like, and I just don't think his voice sort of like captures that. Also, I don't think like the I guess like speed at which he delivers his lines really captures it either, right? Like everything felt like pretty drawn out, kind of like into a whisper or like very like soft.
Mhm.
And if they wanted to make him the more I guess like erratic guy, they could have just made him like in those scenes like a very much a man of few words type thing.
That reminds me,
Wow.
I never linked you. Did you ever listen to Suda Kenjiro in Hoshino Samidare?
No. Oh no, I didn't.
I'm gonna
Yeah, you need the link.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna find a link because
yeah.
this
It's like there's been
like this discussion is really reminding me of that.
it's like there. Yeah, there's been a couple of incidents with the sort of sound direction recently, and it's very unfortunate, honestly.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember what series. I mean, I guess you could say literally. You could also see someone like Nobuhiko Okamoto, like the way he voices Accelerator in
Mhm.
the like Accelerator eccentric like parts in Rail Decks, where when he's not fighting, he is a very more like monotone character, right? But
Right.
then when he's fighting, he becomes fucking psychotic. And
Right.
like
Exactly.
that's kind of what you wanted. Like I feel like regardless of the direction or like regardless of how they spoke to each other about it or like how they wanted to go about it, I think that would have been a way more effective sort of contrast between the two sides of life that the character is going through.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It's
I linked a scene. Apparently, there's just whole ass episodes on YouTube. But yeah, I timestamped it.
wait. Does he make this like struggling voice like throughout the entire like series? This isn't like just him being tired. This is like legitimately his voice for the mascot for like the entire series, right?
So he's doing a little bit of a voice here because it is it is him sort of like I guess gripping with like despair or whatever. But this is effectively the voice he does throughout the entire series, outside of a single scene.
Oh, so he's making this like raspy voice because like he's trying to be because he's trying to pretend like he's like voicing a lizard or something like that.
Yeah,
It's like how Benedict Cumberbatch like does Smog voice, right? In a sense, it's
yeah.
like kind of sort of similar to that. But yeah, it's like there's been some weird stuff recently. There's been a lot of weird stuff recently. But
Yeah, I mean it's very. I guess like even with this, like I peeped a little bit of that too. It's almost like you can see him in the sound booth, and you're like,
yeah,
Yeah.
this ain't
Like
working.
like you hear this voice and you're like, oh, this is Suda Kendro doing like a cartoon voice. Okay.
Yeah, it's like it kind of like takes you out of it.
yeah, it's
But
a
yeah,
little
that
unfortunate.
would be the only unfortunate part. There was probably a lot of people that could get past that.
Hmm.
I guess for me though, it's like I've had so much experience listening to him like do that role
Right, exactly.
kind of like more effectively that it just kind of really bothers me and kind of bores me away in a way. But I think the subject matter of the series is just very, very solid,
Hmm.
and then everyone else is doing a very good job.
And
But yeah,
also,
I
from
guess
what
the
you
other
told me, I
part
get
too
it.
is strangely he keeps that same monotone voice when he's like fucking around with Kay, the like friend and fellow yakuza, and there's a lot of
Hmm.
like slapstick stuff between
Hmm.
them, and like I don't even know like how to like describe the bit, but it's like one of those things where it's like Kay like speaks out of line or something, or like says something like that gets on his nerves in like a playful way or whatever, and it like has these what you call like worm's eye of him like over like looming over K. Then
Hmm.
again, like then they have
The
him
the
deliver the
dizzy eyes.
line like not like dizzy, yeah, kind of like that, but it's like he's like Toru's like huge, like looming over K with like shadows rising in the background,
Oh,
whatever. And
okay.
he's like, "Oh, did you really just say that?" Essentially, like something like
Right,
that.
right.
But he still keeps the monotone voice even in that, and it's like this is like fucked up. Like this doesn't sound correct. Like this sounds like this honestly like parts of his delivery or not his delivery, but the way they directed him
Mhm.
sounds almost like they had to direct him over a fucking Zoom call. Right? Like it feels like this was
Maybe
something
it
made
is
like
because have you
during
actually
COVID. I mean,
seen?
yeah,
Because actually, that reminds me again. Sorry for the tangent, but it's like there was actually a thing where one of the members of Sphere, I forget what her name is, but it's the voice actress that does Sumugi in K-On, right? I forget what her name is,
Right.
but so she actually recorded her like sort of a because she had a stint where she went over to like the UK or something like that for like her education or something like that abroad or something like that, right? If I remember correctly. And she actually recorded a day in the life of herself like doing a session. And there's the thing where she actually goes in like into her room, like opens up a tablet, starts reading off like the script like in her room, like in a Zoom call, essentially like doing the voice acting. So who knows? Maybe
yeah. I mean
Jose I actually
that's
did do that.
entirely possible at this point. That is
Yeah,
exactly
exactly.
what happened.
Yeah.
And
Again,
it's
very unfortunate.
definitely, yeah, definitely extremely unfortunate. But I mean, hey, if you can get past that, then the series itself is very, very solid. When he's talking to the girl, it's a lot better too.
Hmm.
Which I guess like that's a benefit of sort of like the latter episodes, is that
Hmm.
there is like less, because it opens with that Yakuza shit, and it's like
Hmm.
being hit with that immediately is really jarring. But
Right.
once that starts to like calm down and it becomes more split, um, I feel like it becomes significantly better
Okay.
or more tolerable, I should say. So who knows? Maybe
Yeah.
that'll improve over time. One could certainly hope.
Okay. Any last words on the series?
Yeah, I think if you are a fan of, House Husband or trying to think of like other series, almost like I guess like it could be anything from like House Husband to Hinamatsuri to semi even fucking Barakamon or something like that. like sort of like those types of series, then you will probably enjoy this quite a bit, because I think, like I said, I think the actual sort of happenings in it are outweighing sort of like the semi like performance gripes. Plus the audio visuals are quite nice too. So
Right. Okay. Pretty good, pretty good. And again, this is that was the Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting, also known as Kumichou Musume to Sewagakari. And so this again a manga original series done by co-produced mainly by Feel Studios and Gaina Studios. So again, thank you, Dark, for the review. And moving on now to Nier. What do you have for us today, sir?
So I
Oh, right, this one,
watched,
yes.
yeah. So I watched Yofukashi no Uta, also known
Yes.
as Call of the Night, which
One
is
of the ones I think, like, if you haven't seen a clip of like this on YouTube, like one of those meme clips, like, oh, sexy girl does whatever. If you
somehow I
haven't seen one of
haven't.
those clips on YouTube, you're probably yeah,
I don't know.
you should either
I'm a
fake.
lucky man because I have
Yeah, you are
not
probably a lucky person because
done that. Now,
I've seen
granted,
one
I
of these
have
like
been
almost
making
just like
I've been making great use of the do not recommend this channel
yeah,
function on
exactly.
YouTube. So
I keep deleting them, but then they keep coming back for me, so I just kind of gave up after a point. I was like,
yeah.
fuck
YouTube does
this.
that for me as well, where
Yeah.
I'll ignore like 80 channels, and then I'll just be like, yeah, you want to. That means you want to watch these, right?
Yeah, exactly.
maybe it's time to give it another
Anyway,
shot. You know?
But
yeah.
yeah,
This is by Leiden
yeah.
Films. I
So this
believe this
is
is a
from
manga
Studio
original.
Line Films, manga original. Yeah.
Yes.
This has money from Aniplex and Shogakukan Shueisha.
Mhm.
There's a lot of money behind this.
Also, if you guys
Um,
obviously don't know the artist because it looks similar, it is made by the same artist and author as the Gakishikashi mangaka. I believe Kotoyama is his name. What is his name? Kotoyama, right?
let's see.
Kotoyama, yes. Kotoyama is his name. And he is the same author and illustrator behind the Gashikashi, which was also pretty popular during its time.
Yeah,
And part of also why Nier wanted to watch and cover this,
yeah.
which
I
is
like
a
the
rarity for this.
Gashikashi quite a bit.
Mhm.
Um, this is a bit more, a bit less episodic than the
Yeah,
Gashikashi.
yeah.
It's a bit more romance focused as well. Yeah, the basic plot summary is Yamori Ko, which is the main
Mhm.
character, is having trouble sleeping. And one night he goes out on his own at night, just for like a night walk or whatever.
Right.
And he encounters a vampire um, named Nanakusa Nazuna,
Hmm.
and she feeds on him. Um, Basically, while he's pretending to sleep, he finds out that she's a vampire, and then sort of through a line of questioning, is basically like, well, aren't I going to become a vampire then? And then she's then explains that the only way to become a vampire is to fall in love with a vampire and then have them drink your blood.
Right,
Um,
exactly.
and then he decides that he wants to be a vampire, and he proclaims that it will be his goal to fall in love with Nazuna and become a vampire.
Right.
And then uh, the story goes on from there.
Right. So
Um,
so the idea is more. I mean, the vampire stuff is no offense to anybody, obviously, but it's kind of whatever, and it's more a little bit more
yeah,
focused on the whole like, what is friendship, what is love, what does it mean to like somebody, what is the difference between me being like haha sexy vampire versus like me really like it's like that sort of standard like love whatever kind of relationship.
yeah.
Uh,
It goes into a lot of the differences between being attracted to somebody and actually loving them,
mhm.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's quite a few characters in this series.
Mhm.
Pretty much all of them are female. But
Good casting, by the way.
yeah,
Do you mind if I just run down the voice
yeah, go
acting?
for
I'll
it.
also kind of like I won't rant about this, but I'll just make some notes later. But right now I'm just going down the list. From what I see here, again, Sato Gen, been on, been doing a lot of stuff in the recent years as well. Amamiya Sora, if you don't know who Tenchan is, get a clue.
Yeah.
Waki Azumi or Azumiwaki. Kitamura. By the way, Waki Asmi has been doing a lot of roles recently, and she's had a lot of diversity. Again, she can do Onesan roles. She did Kitagiri Sanae and Artemis Cinderella girls, but she usually does like younger, like Yojo, like Fox girl, young girl kind of roles ish, right? Kitamura Eri, I don't need to explain that. Tomatsu Haruka, Ono Kensho, Ozoro Naomi, Ito Shizuka, Hikasa Yoko, Hana Mori Yumiri. I believe that rounds up the main sort of people that you'll see in the cast. So
Yeah. Yeah, majority, like pretty much all of the cast is females.
girls.
However, something that I really like about this series is that it pretty much largely, for the most part, avoids the love triangle subplot. So
Yes. And another thing I want to mention, but you brought it up pretty early right now in the review, so I did want to bring it up. But it's like, so I think, same as the Gashikashi, but a little bit more because like with the Gashikashi, it was just like the premise was regular, but it was like the girl had boobies and it was like whatever. But in this one, it's a little bit more explicit, right? It's like, oh,
yeah,
sexy vampire, blah, blah, blah. So it's like the series and like the artist mangaka and what he wants to do is a little bit more like obvious. It's like there's a lot more like, oh, this series is very worldly desires, you know what I mean?
for sure. Yeah, it's a much
But
more
yes,
it's much more
but to
fan
its
service
credit,
focused.
but to its credit, I do want to say, but to its credit, there are plenty of series out there that are like, oh, I really like you. It's so obvious the mangaka just wants to draw panties and boobs and like just like go ham and do whatever. Like it's so obvious. But this series is pretty good at not like every other second just like explicitly hammering in like the
Yeah,
meme
it
will get with
really
like to love Ru,
it
right? It's
really
like
reads the room.
yeah,
If
exactly. It kind of does it like it kind of slips it in, and then kind of like, oh, there's a scene. Oh, this happened. Boom. Okay, kind of back out, do some stuff, and then boom, kind of like put it in, and then kind of back off, and then so it's not like it's very different from something like To Love Ru or a Kiss Sis, where it's like here, have this fucking like take this seed, take this other seed, take this other seed, take more like because like
So you think it's
slipping
so
on some white stuff.
you would say as far as like more super contemporary shit, you would probably consider it to be similar to what was it, Sonobisk?
I would
Where
even
like
say that like
or
even
even
I think
more like hey,
I think this is even more dry. Not dry, but it's like I think
it's
it's like dry as in like a
or it
dry
holds
wine.
it it
It's
it
like
holds it
yeah
like closer to its chest even longer.
yeah,
yeah.
so
It's like a very like dry wine. It's like even drier than like I would say Biscuito.
yeah. So
Honestly,
this series is definitely a fan service series. Like it well
yeah. You
maybe
can
not I
smell the
wouldn't say
desire. You
I
can
would
smell
say
the
it's a
desire.
fan service series, but
Yeah,
it definitely has a fan service focus to it,
it
right?
has
Like
worldly desires.
there is fan service in this series, right? Like
Yeah,
it's straight up there's fan service in the series.
yeah, and it's
There are
aiming for it.
scenes
It's aiming for
yeah,
it,
there are
but
scenes in this show where it's like this is the part where you're supposed to be attracted to the vampire, right? Like
uh-huh.
you're supposed to look at the vampire's thighs or her butt or her boobs or whatever, right?
Mhm,
Um, but the way it's presented
mhm,
is it's almost like I don't really know how to describe this, but it's almost like I don't want to really say natural, but it's almost framed in a way to where it's the way they show it is it's almost like you're viewing it from the perspective of the main character, essentially like stealing guilty glances at
mhm.
at the girls, right? Like he's
Right.
just taking quick glances at, the main vampire girl's thighs or the childhood friend's big boobs or whatever, right? And it's like it's very obviously presented in scenes where it's like this is the fan service scene, right? Um
Mhm.
like I don't know how far you watch Spire, but like there's a
I watch
massage
all of them.
scene.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
massage scene where, you know, um she's like sitting on his back, and the camera is just like directly on her thighs, right? And it's like
Mhm.
the reason that this scene is happening, the reason that the camera is on her thighs is because she's sitting on his back and he could feel it, right? But
Right.
when, like before that, when she was just in the outfit, they didn't make a big deal of it by, like, they made a big deal of her being in the outfit by the character dialogue, but not by just showing like really high detail, gratuitous shots of her just standing there. Like,
Yeah.
you know, they make it fan servicey and semi-sexual
Honestly, even
when
the massage scene, I didn't really consider it like that much. Like it's not. It's
it was
not.
it was a lot tamer compared to other ones. But it's like just
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
example I'm using here. But it's like
Yeah.
they make the scenes fan servicey and sexual when like the characters are in that, like a scenario like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not a buildup that's like you're not like a lot of these fan service scenes, especially these days, especially with you and I and Dark and Toast, we're used to this kind of stuff. So whenever we see these scenes, we kind of get pushed back out to the abstract, right? We kind of see the structure of the overall story, like we see the meta structure, and we're like, oh, it's coming because the writers did it, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But in this one, it's not like I don't see the buildup coming on much. It's like, okay, well, the writer put this in, and it's like, okay, it's gonna be this scene, whatever, blah blah. Like it doesn't. I'm still sort of immersed in it a little bit more, which is nice.
Yeah, it's quite well done.
Yeah.
But yeah, outside of that, I mean, um, like I said, it's very focused on the romance compared to um like something like the Kashi where it was much more episodic.
Mhm.
Um, the series does have a lot of characters, like a lot. Um,
Mhm.
and they get introduced pretty slowly, which is something that I was kind of surprised by. Um, like they kind of drip feed in the other female characters,
Mhm.
and they usually have a decent amount of screen time. I feel like with a lot of these like series, they usually kind of just slap them all in and then kind of just forget about some of them.
Mhm.
Um, but so far, like they've been pretty slowly drip fed in, which is pretty good. Um, I don't really want to spoil stuff, so you know, uh, I'll just say pretty much all of them are quite good.
Mhm.
They'll have pretty good chemistry with each other. I really like how, again, they largely avoid like the love triangle scenarios.
Yeah.
Um, like even with, I really thought they were going to when they first introduced like the first like Akira, the childhood friend.
Yes.
Like I
Yes. Yes.
really,
Yes.
really thought
I
they were
did
going
too.
to,
Yeah.
like,
But it's
because
like she's
there's
much more of just like a human being, like a
yeah,
regular like
because
person.
there's this scene where they're sitting in the park, right? And they're kind of having like just the silence, right? They're kind of just
Mhm.
hanging out. And the main character is kind of like, is this really like fun for her? Like, is this something that does she really want to hang out with me and really just not do anything? And he basically asks her like, is this fun for you? And she's like, you know, is it not fun for you? And he's like, well,
Mhm.
it's not that it's not fun. She said, well, it's fun for me. And he's like, well,
Right.
does that mean she likes me? And like as soon as that line came out, I was like, oh no. Like I was dreading that this was going to do a romance triangle.
Mhm.
Um, but then like immediately afterwards, they're just kind of just like they immediately prop her up as kind of just supportive of what the main character is doing with the vampire girl. Um, while being, a little bit chiding and sort of like, is this really happening kind of stuff.
Right.
And
Right.
it's a really good dynamic. Um, and it was a really good way to avoid that, like, you know, the childhood friend actually, she likes the main character too, and that now the two female characters are jealous of each other, and it's just like that shit's so
Yeah, little did you
it's
know, in the
it's
second to
so
last
boring.
episode, it's going to be revealed that
Yeah.
she was actually part of a secret vampire hunting order.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And the one thing I do want to, I think it might be a little bit different in the manga, and this is a very like pretty relatively tiny nitpick compared to like what I usually point out. But it's like the one thing I would like to point out in the anime is I think it would be a little bit nicer if they had handled, you know how it's like sort of there's this the structure of the episodes kind of ends up being like they have some sort of conflict or they have some sort of like relationship based issue or like ponderance or like whatever it is. They kind of resolve it, and then the last couple of minutes end up being like oh man, I'm relieved, and then they kind of like fly out into the night, right? Like Nazuna kind of flies uh the MC out into the night, and they kind of like make peace with each other, and then the last minutes kind of build up into the next episode, right?
Yeah.
I wish they do a little bit more with that because I don't think we need to see like that many of the same sort of like, oh, now I'm happy. All right, let's fly out into the night and just kind of like do this like,
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
especially
make
in
peace.
the early episodes, they really do that a lot. I feel like in
Mm.
the later episodes, they diverge a
Yeah.
little bit more from that.
Especially since in the later ones they have stuff like I pointed this out in the Discord to you just before the podcast, but in episode 7 there's a scene where like they and I love this. Honestly, like this sort of thing, obviously like Call of the Night is not a harem,
No.
but so in episode 7, what happens is the MC is surrounded by a bunch of girls as part of the cast, and the girls try to kind of like suck up to him, woo him in a sense, right? And they kind of like throw out these like icebreaker lines or like first date kind of like lines, right? And whenever like one of the girls says something like that or like makes an action to like woo him or suck up to him, all the other girls start having this like internal monologue, being like, "Oh, it's that standard fucking like icebreaker
Yeah,
phrase
yeah,
again
yeah.
or whatever it is." And honestly, like that's not like it's not like it's like super uncommon. Like there are some other things, but that sort of thing is like even with like harem series, that sort of thing is what I live for. That sort of like interaction of like, oh, this motherfucker is doing something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. And I told Nier like if every episode in Call of the Night was similar to like episode 7, like this would easily be contender for anime of the year. Like not
Yeah.
even a question.
It's
Like but
definitely a good
yeah.
episode.
Yeah, I wish it was a little bit. I wish there was a little bit more content like that in it. But like again, that's a very tiny nitpick compared to a lot of other series flaws that I point out. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, I mean, outside of that, I did want to kind of talk about how this series sort of, um, I don't know if you picked up on it, but I
Mhm.
picked up on it pretty quick. But this series sort of kind of tackles like the issue of stuff like depression and anxiety in a pretty decently subtle way, where it kind of doesn't directly like say that this character like this character has depression. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, but it's kind of obvious that a couple
It's more
characters
just like
in
well,
this
it's not.
series are suffering from some form of depression or some form of social anxiety.
Yeah, the idea
Um,
is like it takes form in like the common like social way that people often express it, where it's like they just don't want to do anything, or they just don't want to interact, or like they just you know they don't feel good about anything that they're doing right now, which is
yeah,
again one of the very common symptoms that people point out about depression, about anxiety.
yeah. Um, but I do like the way that this series sort of tackles
Yeah.
that in that it doesn't go like, "Oh, I'm depressed.
Yeah.
I'm so anxious around people." It's kind of just
Yeah.
like, you know,
A
where
sullen,
like the
sullen
main
mood.
character especially is kind of just like, when the childhood friend Akira is like she constantly asks the main character like, why aren't you going to school? Why aren't you going to school? And every
Mhm.
time he basically says the same thing where it's like, oh, I just can't be bothered, or
Right.
oh, I don't find it, like I don't see the point, or I don't find it fun anymore, or whatever. And like all of this stuff is kind of just like, you know, is basically just, oh, I'm not motivated, right? Which
Right.
is,
Exactly.
it's like these are all like literally things that pretty much anybody with depression would say for like them stopping doing really anything that they used to do or that they were passionate about, or that
Right.
they enjoyed, and then they stopped, where it's just like, oh, I just don't have the motivation anymore, right?
Mhm.
It's not like there's really nothing like deeper than, right, when you have depression, where it's just like, oh, I just don't want to do that anymore, you know.
Mhm.
And it sort of just presents that as is, and then the characters kind of just are like, well, you should do it anyway because it would make you
Mhm.
feel better, right?
Right.
Which is a really good, like, I don't know, I haven't really, I can't think of many um anime or like really many Japanese like series in general that sort of tackle depression and anxiety or really any like mental illness in sort of just a like real way like that where it's just like
Well, I think the special thing is that there are a couple of series I think out there in terms of like manga where like they like a person who like the are an artist who has legitimately faced these sorts of social anxieties and depression has written or has drawn about that stuff, right? Like there are things centered around it,
yeah, a lot of
but
that
there's
stuff is
not a
like
lot of
it's a lot of that stuff is
series.
very like first person like first hand
Yeah,
experience kind of
and it's
stuff.
very centered around that subject. But I
Yeah,
don't think there's that many series where it has it as a sort of overlaying theme of more of a I don't want to say side, but it's like it's not like necessarily the main
it's
theme, but
kind
it
of just
has like
like
an
an
extra
aspect
layer.
to a
Yeah,
character,
an
you know,
aspect
like
layer
it's
that makes it more complex. Yeah, exactly. And does that also well is I think
yeah.
the important part.
It
And
doesn't like draw attention to it. It's kind of just like this is something that the character has, right? Like this is
yeah,
just an aspect of the character.
and a lot of it's kind of just like um when there are other series like that that has a character that's depressed or has anxiety as like sort of a more like an overlaying topic rather than a core topic, it ends up being like, oh, I'm sad, this is my backstory, I'm sad, fuck man,
Yeah.
like and it's a little bit overblown. And it does also kind of remind me of this old quote by the famous composer Leonard Bernstein, where it's like, not a quote, but it's like a paraphrase, but it's like when people are sad, like when people are really sad or depressed, they don't really write about it. They don't go like, "Oh, I'm freaking sad" or whatever it
Yeah.
is. They kind of just don't talk about it, right? Because
Yeah.
they are sad, and that sort of like muted way of expressing it, I think, is pretty good on
Yeah.
Call of the Knight's part.
Um Other than that, audio visuals I think
Mhm.
are absolutely fucking stellar in this
Yeah.
series. I think this is probably some of Light and Film's like best work, just straight up.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, it's both the combination of the source material and obviously Light and Films is a good studio to begin with. It's
yeah.
they're not like a bad studio
I
at
mean,
all,
Light and
but
Films is
it's
very
good.
solid. They,
Yeah.
you know, they've done stuff like Tokyo Revengers,
Mhm.
Haruka Saibo Black. But I feel like I feel like they never put out something that has both, like, because even in Tokyo Revengers, like they had some cuts that were really, really good. But I feel like overall the show kind of had this, um, just wasn't quite as like, it didn't quite have that like polish to it, you know.
Mhm.
This show, I mean, obviously the art style helps it a lot. Um, but like the animation, the style, and the backgrounds in the show, like they all come together to have this really, really good vibe.
Mhm.
Um, it helps that, you know, obviously majority of this series takes place at night. Um, and a lot of the backdrops in this series are very like they're very like one color. Um, so you'll have scenes where like the street is entirely covered with like this very almost surreal looking like purple light. Um, but that all sort of doesn't really reflect onto the characters, which makes them pop a bit more.
Right,
Um,
right.
and it almost gives the backgrounds this sort of like Monogatari-esque look, right?
Yeah, I was about to say
Um,
like the angles, especially like shaft or the angles and like the cuts also, is very like
yeah,
it's like Nisio Isi or not Nisio. What the fuck am I saying? Akiyuki Shimbo like
yeah,
sort of throw offs like references almost.
yeah.
Like it's like the way
Like it
like
almost feels
stylish. Yeah.
like whoever like is like directing these shots like worked under
Mhm.
Akiyu Shinbo, which by the way, it's Tomiyuki Itamura directing this.
Mhm.
Um, you know, they've done a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
They've also worked on Monogatari. But like,
Ah.
but
Uh-huh.
But yeah, they so you have the very purple stuff, and then you have the very like yellowy gold ones, which I think were a really good touch because I don't know if anyone's really walked out alone at night when like the street lights like have this very like deep yellow, and then obviously in this series also very Monogatari-esque where the streets have fucking nobody on them. Like they're completely empty. Outside of like there's like this recurring band of like these three drunks that sort of wander around the city and they're
Yeah.
constantly like drunk as shit. Um, but like outside of them, the city is pretty much always empty, which really adds to this like Shaft-esque vibe, and it's really nice, to the point where it's very obvious that they knew they had a really good vibe because a lot of the early episodes there are just scenes where the main character is walking around as they
Right.
just play the Creepy Nuts like insert song, and they're just like, yeah, check out our backgrounds. They're really good, right? It's like, yeah, they are really good. Um, but yeah, audio visuals, like this show is phenomenal. There's really good animation. There's really good style. The way they transition between, the normal like style and the sort of like, the cartoony like comedic style in this series, similar to like the way Takashikashi does it, is also
Mhm.
really well done. Um, to the point where like the characters having like the more round like big eyes, um like quote unquote comedic like faces, it almost feels like just like it's almost like a normal facial expression in this
Right.
show. Like it's really well done.
Yeah.
um but yeah, like overall, um I really like this show. And
Yeah,
like
it's like it has a solid both the audio visual covering as well as the obviously the core material. It's
yeah, the
pretty
story's
solid.
really
So
good. The characters are phenomenal. I think they
mhm.
all they all synergize extremely well. Um,
I do want to also point out just one thing before we you give your last words. Uh I think again this is like another sort of small nitpick, but it's like this is also again well known because Minnesota did the sort of like sexy vampire girl whatever it is, right?
yeah.
And there was also like a video clip of her being like those like sucking sounds or whatever, the blood sucking
Yeah.
sounds. That was me, baby.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, but I heard the sucking sounds, and I just want to say, like you can tell how much experience, in my opinion, somebody has had previously with something like voice dramas or like drama CDs or ASMR or whatever. Because I don't think Amamiya sort of has had that much experience yet with them. Because I think like whenever she does the sucking sounds, it's like it's like a freaking like helium balloon, like slowly like
Yeah, it's very
it's a
high
little bit.
pitched.
Yeah. It's like or whatever.
I wasn't
I don't
expecting
think
her
she
to
does
really
that.
go like hardcore like
Yeah.
licking sounds or anything, but it's
Yeah.
definitely more like, you know, sucking through a straw than I was
Yeah.
expecting.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think also an interesting thing is that this is one of her more I want to say like this is still yet a more uncommon role for her, right? Because while she does have like the tomboy stuff, right? Like while Nazna is like a tomboy role, she also has to sort of act out that like coquettish, um, flirty role, right? In a sense, like I'm the sexy
yeah.
like One-san role at times, right? Versus the MC. And what she does here is very sort of uh, I don't want to say like amateurish, but it's like it's very evident, and I'll kind of point it out later. But it's like she does like she kind of does this, like she pulls up this like guttural voice from like
Yeah.
it's like like when she does
I
this like
think
combo
I think
like
it fits really well with the character though, because the way Nazuna is like obviously she's supposed to be this character that's constantly teasing the main character with these lewd jokes and stuff. But as soon as anything like remotely like romantic comes up, she immediately gets embarrassed. So I think it's sort of
because you think it's a because the focus is on her being at core a tomboy, right? Is
yeah. I
why,
mean, like
yeah.
at the character's core, she's
Uh,
still like an innocent, somewhat inexperienced, like tomboyish character.
yeah,
But she's got this sort of outward shtick where she teases the
yeah.
main character
An
with these lewd
air of like
jokes and
expertise, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
like she's sort of putting up the front. So
an
it's
air,
like
yeah.
it's it sort of plays into the character, but I do think Amamiya sort of probably could have gone a bit harder with like the more seductive side to this character. But I do think
Maybe, yeah.
I think the
Now that
balance
you do
is pretty
mention it,
good.
yeah. Now that you do mention, yeah. If she
Because
used this voice,
if she
yeah,
went too hard into like the teasing seducting side, I think it would be a
yeah.
bit jarring for it to be like this like super alluring seductress vampire into this like
The
weird
tomboy,
like
yeah,
tomboyish like super
yeah.
embarrassed character. I think it would be a bit jarring.
Yeah,
Um
now that you mention it, I think her point was to like focus a little bit more on like the tomboy character, I think this voice does fit her. Um, I, I, I think it works well in that sense. I think also for me, it's a little bit hard, at least right now, for me to like hear that sort of like voice where like Amiya Sora is obviously like pulling it kind of from her stomach, not from her stomach, but a little bit from the upper part of her chest, like up, and like
yeah.
doing that voice. It's a little bit hard for me right now to hear Nasuna and be like, oh, this is like a new character that's like being voiced by Amiya Sora. It's more just like, yeah, Amiya Sora is trying to do
Yeah,
like it,
she's kind of just doing a voice,
yeah,
right?
she's kind of being Amiya Sora, but like tomboyish. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like,
Again,
uh,
I do think it works with the
yeah,
character, but if she was going for
a
an
little bit more.
actual like alluring, seducting voice, I do think she missed the mark a bit.
Yeah,
But I will
the
give her the benefit of the doubt with the
yeah, yeah,
character.
yeah.
Um,
Now that you do mention it, yeah, I do want to give her the benefit of the doubt as well. And I just wanted to point that out with like the contrast of like, because Kitamura Eri, when she does the teacher voice or whatever,
yeah,
the other character, she has like very good control, like this like very good balance, like over like kind of being like confident, like almost tomboyish, but then kind of having that sort of like middle of the line voice. And what the reason why I point that out is because I remember Kitamura Eri in her earlier roles when she was doing the tomboyish roles and when she was doing more like the flip back between like coquettish, the flirty roles and tomboyish roles. She also used to put on the same sort of tomboy
yeah,
as Amamiya Soda did. So that's why I found that sort of general contrast pretty cute. But yeah, other than that, I had very essentially no complaints about this series really.
yeah.
There any
They
male
set out
vampires in the series?
No.
well, we're
So
hoping the MC becomes the
Nice.
male
Does
vampire
no one
soon.
morb?
yeah, I mean
Anyone morb?
there are morbs in this series.
Yeah.
There are
Really?
morbs.
There are like
Yes.
ghouls, like ghoulish vampires.
Um. Well, I don't know if I say ghouls, but there are. So I don't want to spoil it too much, but there are other vampires in the series.
Mhm.
Um, and they do go a little bit goblin mode. Yes.
Okay, that's cool. I like that.
But yeah. I'd say overall, this series is like I'd say this series is phenomenal.
Mm.
Like as an overall package, um, it looks good, sounds good, the story's good, characters are good. Um, there's really no, there's really not much I can complain about in the series. Um, I will make a minor side note. I've seen some people that are uh, I guess some people that I guess are a little bit weirded out by the uh quote unquote age gap between the characters.
What do you mean?
So I've seen some people that are like, the main character that is he's in middle school, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah, okay,
and
yeah.
then the vampire girl is obviously much older, right?
Yeah.
Um, But
lady's got to get one at some point.
yeah,
at this shit for years.
It's also like, the series is essentially like presenting itself as like, yes, she's a vampire, but she's also very much like a virgin in terms of like romance and love. So
I mean, the main problem was Koriyama kind of not doing this at the high school level, and then like everything
yeah,
would have been mostly
I do
fine.
think
But
if it was
honestly,
a high school thing that like really
nobody would have complained.
all of those gripes would be gone.
Yeah.
But I'm just pointing it out, like if that is something that upsets you, or like it's not really something that you can look past, just keep that in mind, I guess.
And I just want to say also, and I also again want to say like,
But
it
no, yeah, I
just
do think I mean, when I first saw the series, like when you just said middle school, I did not think that even just like art wise that they would just like throw that in there for the MC.
Yeah, I mean it
Essentially,
is.
just because it's like it doesn't
I feel like it wasn't really
seem
necessary.
like
I do find it kind of strange that they did specify that he was in middle school, and they specify his age as well, because I don't think it's really necessary at all. And again, I do think that the way the series is toned, it could very much be in high school as well. But like, uh, just I'm just putting it out there. If that is something that legitimately weirds you out, you know, I think you're probably reading into it a bit much personally. But like, if that is something that's not like you just can't look over, like just keep that in mind, I guess.
I mean, I think it's like if it does. I mean, it's not like it's necessarily nothing to worry about, and you're like it's okay to be like, oh, like that's middle school. That's a little bit weird. But I just also want to say like the flip side of the coin is like none of you motherfuckers were here when fucking Kuruyuki Hime poster art for like the Excel World 50th movie was out, and
Yeah,
like the poster, what is it, like the poster art of like Kuruyuki Hime, like what was that? What was even her like outfit? It was like some sort of like
the like butterfly dress.
butterfly baby doll, but it's like
Yeah,
only like a quarter
I
of her body was like
it
covered
was
or
like
something like that.
strapless too, right? But
Yeah, it was
yeah,
like
I
some,
mean,
and they're all middle schoolers, by the way.
yeah.
It's like none of you motherfuckers were there complaining about that, so I don't want to hear shit.
But
Yeah.
yeah, again, I don't see it as a big deal, but some people do.
No.
I think they're making a mountain out of a molehill, but whatever.
Yeah.
Overall, again, I think this series is very, very good. I highly recommend it to really anybody. Um, if you like rom-com stuff, you should absolutely check it out. If you like just general slice of life stuff, you should absolutely check it out. I think even if you're more focused on like action stuff, it's worth checking out. It's got a couple scenes. I'll just say that
Mhm.
much.
It's got some fun
And
references. What
yeah,
is it with the fighting games and stuff like that, and
yeah, yeah,
also
yeah,
it did Alpha 3, which is a
yeah.
very weird take.
how is the
And then,
Yeah.
vampire trivia?
Um,
I don't think there's like
so
a
there's not very much. It's sort of it kind of treats like I said earlier, it kind of just treats the vampire thing as kind of just like, yeah, she's a vampire.
Is it a
That
curse or a
happens.
disease?
Like,
it's a type of being, but it's like the thing is, it's like the vampire stuff again, as I mentioned at the very start of the review. Honestly, like is extremely irrelevant to me. Like vampires in this story could be like flesh-eating slime monsters, and like the MC could be like a Kryptonian fighting General Zod. And honestly, like
yeah,
it
it
will
wouldn't
not
matter.
make too much.
But
There's
Nier,
yeah,
what's her power level?
uh, I mean, she can fly, so pretty
She
high.
is she a true ancestor or a daywalker or what?
Yeah, but Morbius could fly too. Like,
I mean,
And
yeah, but
Morbius can walk in the sun, so
she can fly without fart lines. So, um, but yeah, there's some minor stuff where it's just like, yeah, like vampires can't be in mirrors and stuff like that. She sleeps during the day. Um, but it doesn't seem like
is that a
sunlight.
life choice?
It doesn't. Yeah, it seems like it seems more like a just like a preference kind of thing.
Mhm.
so
Cause
she's a daywalker.
there have been scenes where she's like literally standing right in front of a mirror in the middle of the day, or right in front of a window rather. Um, so it doesn't seem like sunlight necessarily kills them. I don't think. They probably just prefer the night, because they're vampires. But yeah, the
Mhm.
vampire stuff is pretty non-consequential, side of
Yeah.
like a couple scenes here and there. But yeah,
Can she
again,
eat garlic?
I
Can she
don't
cross running water?
think they've done. I'm pretty
That's true.
sure.
Does she have
Yes.
to be invited into a home?
I don't think they've acknowledged that, but probably not. Yeah, I don't think so. But yeah, I'd give this like a solid fucking. I'd probably give this like a 9 out of 10. Honestly, this is probably contender for my anime of the year. I like the show a lot.
What does it lose 1 point for?
I mean, I don't really give anything a 10 out of 10. So take that as you will. Like,
Gotta wait for
I
that Lane
wouldn't
remake.
give.
Gotta wait for that Lane live action. Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't even give Lane or Evangelion a 10 out of 10. So just keep that in mind.
What if it was Lane live action and Lane's dad is played by fucking Willem Dafoe?
Well, I mean Hollywood wouldn't be that
Jean
smart,
Claude,
but
yeah.
that would be 10 out of 10. Yeah.
Anyways, thank you, Nier, for helping to cover again one of the bigger series of this season, Call of the Night, Yofukashi no Uta, manga original, adapted into an anime by Light Films, again doing the main production as well as heading 3D CGI on that front. Made by the same, or the original manga rather, is drawn and written by the same artist as the Gashikashi author. Kotoyama is his name, so please do check it out if you're interested. And again, thank you very much, Nier, for helping cover it. So I guess I'm next on the chopping block here, and I'm going to just
Thought I
quickly
was
go.
next.
No, I am next.
Okay.
Because Nier went before. But so I'm going to cover Engage Kiss, and this is I believe this is a multimedia under media. This is an anime adaptation, not an adaptation. What the hell am I saying? This is an anime series that was made as part of a multimedia project called Project Engage, funded by Aniplex, probably funded by like Sony or some other people. I think it's part of a mobile game or some bullshit, probably. And it is created. It was co-produced by, not co-produced. It was the production was headed by A1 Pictures. The 2D design was helped with a guy from Production IG. I don't know whether he had a team, but like the main like character design guy was from Production IG. 2D design guy was from Production IG, and had a bunch of other people obviously working on it because they had a lot of money. What is this? Voice acting cast real quick. Soma Saito as the main character. Aizawa Saya, who did, I forget. She did like
Soma Saito is such a main character name.
yeah. So she did right. She did Hiromi Seki in Adama Cinderella Girls recently, as well as what is it? Yuzuki Tachibana in Taisho Otome Fairy Tale. So a couple of smaller series stuff here recently, but mainly Hiromi Seki, I think, was one of her main roles in her resume. Lynn, obviously, I don't really need to point out what she did, and then some others, voice actors. Let's see this: Uchita Aya, Matsuda Kenichiro, Okubo Rumi, Onishi Saori. Let's see this: Hasegawa Yoshiaki, so Kito Akari. So yeah, pretty decent line here. Also, the director has mainly been doing a couple, he's been mainly doing not secondary, but like more assistant roles in between doing episode direction and stuff like that. This is his first, one of his, I think his second biggest major project, Engage Kiss. He did something called Visual Prism before. I don't know what the hell that is. It's like
Oh, that was the Prison. I think
Oh, that was the
another
vampire thing.
series,
Yeah, that was the
wasn't it?
vampire,
Yeah.
the male vampire groups thing. So it's a little bit
that
unfortunate.
that series was I
Not
watched that
good.
series. Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah. So hopefully he's being given like another try here. And I'll go over how that kind of pans out. Um, he's the guy. The writer behind this is the same writer behind Saikano, the
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Sainai Hiroe no Sodatekata, How to Raise a Boring Heroine, artist and
Dude, you're
or
hitting all
writer.
kinds of fucking check
Red
boxes right
lights.
now.
Yeah, exactly. So for those of you who do not know, I have quite a well, I wouldn't say I have the
It's your
strongest
favorite
opinion.
show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's my favorite show. It was my light novel of the year in all years. But so that's the writer. Tsunako, very famous for being the artist behind
Who's Sunako?
Neptunia, Neptunia as well as Data Life. So he headed the art for
I
the
thought Sunako was a she.
sorry, she. I
I don't
apologize.
know. I've always assumed it was a she.
I think it might be
I'm
she. I'm not
pretty
sure, but
sure
it's
she's
like
a she.
so the artist uh created the original designs and the art
Yeah,
for
she's a
the
girl. Okay.
yeah for the multimedia project. The other people are kind of just, you know, the standard sort of the veterans, right? Because again, this is like this has a lot of money and it's being mainly produced by A1. So they had a lot of, you know, kind of like connections to pull from, as well as, you know, the production IG and the other people. So, you know, pulling from a lot of places. Guy who did like Love Live and so on, like he did is heading the music as pulled in. Okay, yeah, Sunako here. What is it here? Yeah, so pulled in people here and there. Key animation people from Fate, from the people who did like Fate, you know, Magi Reko, stuff like that recently. So a lot of veterans in the team here, just coming in, but mainly the Saikano writer, Tsunako as the initial designer, and the guy who did Visual Prison as the director. So not exactly an Avengers level, you know, thread, but you know, it is what it is. So
I think it's an Avengers level threat. It's just not an Avengers level
not,
team.
not in the way, not in the way that you might expect. Yeah. So going over the plot very quickly. This is I mean, I'm just gonna explain like just like the shit that's relevant. So it's like there's a bunch of there's like a special city, and there's like a bunch of demons that like keep, you know, appearing and trying like causing havoc. And it's very hard to get rid of the demons. Like no like human technology and stuff like that like can really properly take care of the demons. And the main character uh is so the main character is a person that's hired by like, you know, hired as part of like a private military company to take out these sorts of demons. But he's also like he has this sort of like side quest. Part of the reason why he's doing all this is because he wants to find out the mystery of who who killed his father, who killed his like sort of took away his like long lost sister, who because they were both and who kind of put the blame on all of them because a long time ago when all this like sort of demon stuff started really appearing, um, the or sorry, came to a head, the father and the sister of the main character were kind of trapped in underground and kind of killed and taken away. And all of the sort of the demon nonsense that's been going up until now was blamed on his father and the sister, right? Or not the sister, but the father. So he wants to find out who the hell did this, who the hell killed his father, and where his long lost sister is. So in order to do that, in order to help out killing the demons, he's actually made a contract with a demon, and this is the pink-haired girl you see in the poster art called Kisara. And Kisara is a sort of pink-haired demon, and but the issue is
Wow. Kisara? Is that like his? Whoa.
Oh shit! Wait. Does
Wait a
it look
minute.
like a
Whoa.
certain like person from Guilty Crown maybe?
Whoa.
But yeah.
What the hell?
She
Oh
looks like
shit!
Zero too.
Oh shit! Pink hair girls that
She does
have
not
high
look like
importance.
Zero Two.
Yeah.
She has pink
You're
hair, so yes, she does.
psychotic.
But the so he works with this demon to kill other demons, right? By forming contract with her. And he also works alongside his childhood friend called
Damn, contract with demons? How? How's the contract work?
yeah,
kiss?
good question, Toast. Good question,
Yeah,
Toast.
what are the economics of this contract?
Yeah,
They
exactly.
Like,
engage in kissing, perhaps.
Yeah, perhaps just
so
taking a like wild guess here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take a
I
shot in
was
the
gonna
dark here.
I was gonna ask if they were gonna have like a stamp of approval on a contract or something.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true
exactly.
too.
They just write out the form in return.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Spire doesn't
but
know.
Yeah, he doesn't know.
Cultured.
yeah. But he also works alongside the blue hair girl. You see in the arc called Ayano Yugiri.
Why does she look
And
like she's from a completely different anime?
yeah, I think I know what anime you're
She
talking
freaking
about.
looks like one of
Mana.
the AST girls. Like, what the hell?
You mean
Wait,
like
which one is
Mana,
that? The
right?
blue
Oma Mana.
haired or the blonde?
Yeah, she freaking looks like she's from
The
AST.
blue-haired girl looks like she's from a new rendition of fucking.
She looks like she's from Muv-Luv
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
true.
I mean the
That'll
armor
work
girl.
too.
Yeah.
with the suit. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways,
Or
so
maybe Mars
he's
of
trying.
Destruction.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
Oh
good point.
shit. Oh yeah.
She's got the gun.
A lot of inspiration from that series.
But can she fly with powered armor?
Yeah.
Does she have
So
roots in Japan?
yeah, exactly. That's the real question here. Do the demons have roots in Japan?
Yeah.
But the
Don't you
the
know,
MC
Spire?
Trust. Yes.
Vampires originated from Japan.
True. Along with humanity.
Yeah. But
That's why there
what
was a
is it?
whole big fuss about RE5 when they're trying to portray Africa as the root of humanity and not anything else.
Yeah.
God damn it. Anyways, the main character tries to fight along with the childhood friend and Ayano Yugiri to get rid of the demons. Again, he has his like own skills, like he can like do like hand-to-hand combat and like shoot stuff and stuff like that. But to actually defeat the demons,
You have to
he's
kiss them?
yeah, so he makes a contract with the demon, which involves kissing her.
Whoa.
But the issue is, every demon apparently requires a sacrifice whenever they need power, right? So it's like you have to every time the demon that you made a contract with needs power, you need to make a contract with them to give them something in exchange. So you need to sacrifice something to give them fuel for their power or something like that. And every person has something like unique part of their lives that they need
Yeah,
to give.
unfortunately, it's just their virginity every single time.
Yeah, it's just their sex
It's a
appeal and virginity.
real damn shame, you know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
He's just gotta get ED.
What's a fella to do, you know?
Exactly.
You know what, Spire? You know what this premise sounds like? Demons, and you seal a contract with a kiss.
What?
This sounds like bootleg Data Live.
It's
Because every time
not-
Shido has to seal a spirit, he kisses them.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, the whole like setup looks pretty
And a
similar,
freaking
but
AST girl over there, and a nun, and a
yeah,
chick.
I mean, I didn't say any. I did
Well,
not
Data Live
say.
is more romance focused, right? This
Yeah,
seems a bit
well,
more.
Yeah, let me cover.
Guilty Crown.
Yeah.
How can you kiss them without having
All
a
right,
date
let
first?
me yeah,
Explain that, Spire.
let me finish covering the plot summary and then I'll get into it. So the contract, the sacrifice that the MC has to make specifically is his memories. So he gives up X amount of his memories every time
Dark.
he.
You get it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Here,
I
you
know.
get
I'm
it?
getting. Yep.
Yeah.
So he gives up X amount of his memories every time he wants to give the demon power, and he, and because he ends up giving up a lot of his memories, he ends up having more and more fucked up relationships with everybody around him because he's essentially deleting all of his memories except for that one incident where his father was killed, where his sister was lost. So like he's willing to sell everything except for the memory of that like central incident, like the reason for his like living, the reason for his like going on and doing stuff. So like, you'll have these scenes where it's like he'll delete memories of him being with his blue-haired childhood friend in order to power up the pink-haired female demon, and save. So the demon can help save the day and save the childhood friend. So it's like that sort of like standard thing where it's like, oh, I'm willing to sacrifice everything just to save the ones I love. But if I sacrifice my memories and I sacrifice who I am, like what will happen after all of my sacrifices? This is that sort of like usual conflict. And so the rest of the series focuses on a very um it's a much heavier plot driven. It's like most of it, like 99 or 90% of it, focuses on the sort of uncovering of the mystery behind, where what happened to the MC's father, or the main character's father, the truth behind the demons, what's going to happen, what does he need to do to, stop all this nonsense, or what do the good guys need to do to stop all this nonsense from happening, and from, demons from all spawning and killing everybody and stuff like that. And that's sort of the general brunt of the story. And honestly, that part's not it's not that interesting. It's like it's very like, oh yeah, the demons are kind of like spelled out, and then like it's like this one big boss that like we need to defeat at the end, and it's connected to like everybody in within the main cast, and it's a very standard like setup. It's not that exciting. And then the I'm like kind of getting mixed up here, but I just want to give a shout out to like the audiovisual stuff. The audiovisual is honestly not that impressive. Like the action scenes are like okay in terms of like
This is A1, right?
yeah, and production IG also helped a little bit, and they have a lot of money with the behind the scenes with the different subcontractors.
What
So they
else are they
have
doing this season? Oh, Licorice Recoil, right?
yeah. So they're definitely. I mean, they had. I think they got enough contract money for both, but they're clearly pouring.
For sure.
They're
They definitely
clearly
favor Licorice Recoil.
their main team. Their main team, if they have a main animation team, is a little bit more on Licorice Recoil, and then Engage Kiss, I think, is being subcontracted probably a little bit more. Is my guess.
Yeah.
And the in between frames and stuff like that are okay, but it's like everything else is like very standard, whatever. In terms of there's nothing special about the audio either, OST, whatever. In terms of the characters, it's like all the girls are secretly like kind of tsundere and kind of in love with them, but they're all kind of, going along the same lines, right? It's like why are you so determined, so hell-bent on, sacrificing everything just to save me? Why are you so hell-bent on sacrificing everything just to get to the bottom of this, mystery about your father? Why, like, are you really willing to sacrifice so much that you lose, yourself, what it means to be yourself, and you just, you become a completely different person? Are you willing to do that just to save the person you love, or just to uncover, the mystery behind everything? And it's that sort of like very standard, like emotional conflict kind of thing. Um, I'm not like, yeah, as you can tell, where with where I'm going with this, I'm not that impressed, to be honest.
Would you say it's not engaging?
Yeah, it's not. It's
So
yeah, it's.
so he fights
Fuck
with
you, dear.
the pink-haired girl, right? How do their
Yes.
powers work?
It's not even a power. It's like she becomes super strength, and part of the lore is like only like demons can really like properly injure and kill other demons stuff. So it happens like so that's part of again like the whole thing is like when demons appear and like they're mowing down everything, you can't just shoot it. Like it doesn't work very well. So you have to um have like demon weapons or hire have people contract with demons in order to defeat the enemy demons that arise. Essentially, that's sort of how it works. Um,
Have they done some sort of a fusion yet,
no, unfortunately,
where
they have
like
not.
they uh they combine bodies or anything into some weird form? No.
No, it's unfortunate. There's no like real like transformation or anything. Like there's like a flash. Like the girl will go from like the pink hair girl will go from like her regular like schoolgirl like form to like full like pretty like
So
y-
she
you
does
know
have a henshin, huh?
it's like one flash. It's like like that's pretty much it. It's not like a full transformation scene or anything like that. And
Like,
she
does she
has her.
transform by herself, or does she have some sort of super cool pose?
She doesn't even have a pose. She like literally just transforms into the outfit.
Why
It's like
bother?
it's like how mid villains in Magical Girl series kind of like do that like and like their entire body kind of like have that like the color like moving down, right? Like the one monocolor moving down and then they transform. It's like that. That sort of transformation. But yeah, I'm the issue is it's like let me see. Yeah, the demon hunting and like the finding out about the last boss and finding out more details about the mystery. It's not like that valuable because the mystery and everything is an obvious wrapper around the fact that the real like conflict, the real theme of the series is how much like the MC wants to sacrifice for his loved ones, and it becomes all again. It becomes a whole like dialogue between oh, what is a true personality? Like, how far will his kindness, how far will his how far will his determination and his motivated self sacrifice, how far will that take him versus his memories, what he truly was, and how will the ones who are around him and who truly love him, how will they react to him sacrificing everything for them and him sacrificing and becoming a completely like different person? Like, what will happen at the end? And so like it's more just the whole like everybody's waiting for the other shoe to drop. Everybody's waiting with bated breath for like the boss to explode and for him to like sacrifice every single one of his memories and shit like that, right? And then see what happens afterwards. But the issue is it's like this is a very like pretty standard formula, right? It's like the whole like, oh, how much are you willing to sacrifice? Like blah 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 blah, and it's like you'll become a different person, all that bullshit. But um, and a common variant of this that you can see in some series is like the anti-hero aspect, right? The anti-hero variant of this, and by that I mean like um some like the main character keeps doing like worse and worse things, like worse and worse acts until people are like, "Oh, I don't recognize you anymore." It's essentially like a variant of that, but with like the memories, if you think about it, right? It's just like the same sort of structural variant.
Yeah.
Um the issue with this formula, right? The very common issue, if people think about it just for like half a second, is that this structure is very boring if you're just trying to run that without much like proper character development or without having very good characters or like without having a good plot. There's really not much else going on for this sort of formula until the very end. Because the whole point of this is that you're kind of like everybody's kind of just again waiting for that final sort of climactic scene, right? Like, oh, what happens when he truly does sacrifice everything? What happens when he truly does decide to become an entirely alien, different person? And how will his true sense of self and self sacrifice work out versus the ones he loves and his result, right? Because everybody's waiting for that end result, this entire sort of series, episodes 1 through 10, right? 1 through 11, 1 through 10, becomes extremely boring and like it's not relevant. It's like, I mean, it is relevant to advancing the plot to the end line, but you're not like, you're just like, all right, yeah, he's making more sacrifices. Yeah, people are becoming more sad, blah, 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 blah. But it's not like you're not like, wow, this is a fucking good series. This is so like I haven't seen this before. You've seen this 1,000 times. So that's the sort of problem I have with this sort of formula here, where a lot of times I'm just kind of waiting for episode 11 or 12 to happen, and then oh yeah, he sacrificed everything, and so what? So how did the girls end up? How did the guy end up? What happened to the results? Did the boss die? Or obviously the boss will die, but what happens after the boss dies? Does he kind of remain? Is he in a wheelchair? What happens? That bullshit. And it's like usually it ends up being something like an Angel Beats ending, right? Where it's like he kind of forgets, but then like he looks at the girl and it's like, oh, I think I remember you, or some bullshit like that, right? It's like
Yeah.
that's a very like standard ending to go by. But
But I mean, if there's nothing else, like if there's nothing else going on, then it does it really matter like what the end result is, like what the payoff is? Because it's like you've basically just
well,
sat
what I'm saying,
there.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
you've
it's like
sat there for 11 episodes to be like, okay, so he doesn't
to
remember
get
Yeah, you
anything.
cathartic
forgot.
value. The
Like,
thing is,
no,
um,
because what's going to happen is that the girl is going to be like, there's one last fight, and then she's going to fight him, and then he's going to fucking win. There
yeah,
you go.
I
He's going
mean
to get all his memories back.
Yep.
the value, or like when the boss explodes, it'll like spit out all like the power, and the power will turn into memories, and then he'll get his memories back or something. There'll be something like that. There'll be some variant of that. But
Doesn't know.
the
Yeah, exactly.
the reason
He does
the
not know.
reason yeah, the reason why I said there was value in this sort of formula in terms of like episodes 11 to 12. When I say value near, I don't mean necessarily like, oh, I see episodes 11, 12 and think, oh, now it's a good series because I saw episodes 11. That's not what I mean. I mean like there's like very standard like cheesy cathartic value. You know what I mean? It's like cuz it's like the explosion, right?
Sure,
You're seeing the
right,
end of the
but like
explosion.
I feel like
Um
on its own, I feel like it doesn't really have value, right? Because I feel like the catharsis is like sort of
based on the build up, right?
yeah, it's based on the
Yeah.
journey,
I
right?
mean,
Because when you
I
have
do
a
agree with that.
character where in the end it's like, oh, he lost his memories. Well, you know, if the journey wasn't memorable, then like we like as a viewer, you really don't feel that bad for a character losing his memories. Because it's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if you don't give a shit about any of like the characters that this main character has forged bonds with or whatever, um, it's like, is it really that sad that a character like you know, if I don't give a shit about like the female lead in this series, am I really
Mhm.
gonna give a shit that the main character forgets about the female lead? Not
Yeah.
really, right? Like,
Yeah, so the type of value, I'm not saying like it has great cathartic value. What I'm saying, it's like it's similar to like it's like watching a movie and like having that build up to like the seconds just before like the final fight breaks out, where it's like the main guy like pulls up the the automatic the automatic gun, and he's like, it's time to rock, and it's like boom, and then the fight begins, right? It's like the difference between that and like watching a video clip of like just the few like the minute before that fight breaks. You know the difference, right? Where it's like you're still
yeah,
kind of feeling that like minor value, but yeah, as you said, it's not anywhere compared to like having a proper build up into the fight. Yeah. So there's like this like minor value, like sort of sucking up the scent of like food from like from the scraps that you're eating. It's like there's like minor cathartic value in like watching episodes 11 through 12 that again I haven't watched it yet because it hasn't been released, but I'm sure like it'll that sort of shit will happen. But like that'll be that sort of thing. But I think this series again, just because it does follow this formula of the whole like, oh, how much sacrifice are you really going to make? Blah 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 blah, and just going down that route, and not really having much else other than that, and kind of pushing the plot forward of the whole demons. Which again, the demons part is not very relevant. It's like the demons thing is about as relevant as the vampire stuff is in Call of the Night. It's like it's not that relevant. It could be like any other. It could be
yeah.
aliens. It could be whatever. And so if you're pushing that sort of like non-existent plot and you're running a structure that's like, oh, what's the final sacrifice going to be? How far are you willing to go? And you're not running anything else, everybody's kind of just sleeping. It's just sleeping until episode 11. So it was a very unfortunate thing. I think not to, I don't know how much offense I want to uh dole out to the Saikano writer, but it's quite clear that the Saikano writer, I mean, it was pretty evident from him writing Saikano in the first place, but
That he's a genius.
yeah, he's a literary genius.
Yeah.
It was right for everybody else to be inspired. There are people that are legitimately like they write in their bios like I was inspired by Saikano to like write this light novel or whatever.
What is
right? Like,
inspirational about that series?
Inspired by what? Fucking
like there are
goddamn,
people
dude.
that I forget. Like there was a couple of like light novels and stuff like that are like, or web novels or whatever, where people were like the authors, and these are like adapted into anime now as well, and they legitimately write like, oh, or say in interviews, oh, I was inspired by Saikano or like whatever stuff like that. Like the I forget who it was, but like one of the isekai people recently that we covered was like, I was inspired by Saikano and like Oreimo or some bullshit like that, right? Whatever it was. Fuck, man.
What a combo.
Holy shit.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not sure how much I expected from the Saikano writer, but certainly this was even more of a letdown than I expected. It was just very flat, very formulaic, and even the formula itself that was used wasn't very good, and it just didn't pan out very well. And I know again this is like a multimedia project, but I mean, come on, let's put a little bit more elbow grease into it, right?
Well, so this is apparently a multimedia project, right? But apparently the game isn't out yet, and the game
It's
has
gonna Uma Musume. It's playing Uma Musume.
it's possible, but apparently the game is called Engage Kill, and it follows a
Yeah.
completely different set of characters.
What the fuck?
So
Okay.
I'm going to assume that the writer had a decent amount of freedom here. He wasn't like really necessarily tied down to anything outside of having to write a story about like, fighting demons, right? But yeah.
Yeah, it was a waste of some good Tsunoko art, but what can you do? Saikano is the best series in the world, so we couldn't stop him. We couldn't stop him, friends.
So is
Like,
it better than Data Live?
no, it's pretty bad. This series is pretty bad. Like the thing is, like even the characters, like just because of how do I say this? It's like the characters are realistic in terms of how they come to grips with the fact that he's losing his memories. That's like I'll give the writer credit for that. Like they're just like, okay, well, he's really willing to go this far, and then all we can really do is like, we'll try to dissuade him, but if he is carrying this out, we'll go and support him. But the issue is the way that the theme and the outcomes of this sort of formula need to be resolved are so severe and in its like railroading and the way it needs to be formulated, right? Because at the end of the day, this formula again is based around the final sacrifice, right? It's like, are you really willing to sacrifice everything just to do this? Like that's sort of the final scene for this variant, for this formula, right? Like, are you really willing to just become an entirely different person just to do this? You freaking like whatever, blah blah blah. And so, just because that formula is so restrictive, so hungry, so needy in what it requires from its characters to say and do, that even if those characters are like realistic, they eventually become warped into saying these sorts of like same like this sort of standard lines that you need to say in the formula, like, oh, how far are you willing to go? It's like I can't bear to see you do this, and all this fucking shit that's like I've seen a billion times, right? So because this formula warps the characters themselves are like at core realistic, but it doesn't really matter because then the interactions at the end and like how it kind of resolves all ends up kind of becoming the same. So it's a very like it's unfortunate is what it is. Just the writer isn't very good. Like I don't know what to say. It was kind of similar in Saikano too, where it's like in Saikano the characters like cores were pretty good. Like Eddie and like the student count. It wasn't student council president. It was like one of the writer girls, right? The writer
Yeah.
girl and like the cousin and stuff like that. They were all like at core. They had like good buildups and stuff like that, and like the character setups were decent. But Saikano's like plot, or even I want to say like almost like lack of plot, and like the way that the author tried to resolve it, just made it so that like everything kind of just went to shit. And I think honestly, it's the same with Engage Kiss here. It was like the character bases are not bad, like the D&D sheets for each character, the character
Yeah.
sheets for each character aren't bad, but the formula is just bad. The formula is just so bad. Like you can't use this formula. The whole like final sacrifice. Oh, but you can't do this. You'll lose everything. Like fuck you. I've seen this like 50 times. So you know. Anyways, that was pretty much all I had to say about Engage Kiss. Again, this is a multimedia
What's your
project.
rate? What's your rating? What's it
My
better
rating?
than and worse than?
Wow, it's worse than a lot of stuff. It's worse than a lot of stuff, but I wouldn't be like
Is it
the
better
thing.
or worse than Guilty Crown?
That's fuck. Huh. The issue is the audio is so like fuck. Supercell has like the double OPs of Destiny to Guilty Crown. That gives it like so many like that gives it like an entire point plus by itself. That's the issue. Um Ignoring the Supercell openings, I would say Guilty Crown is half a head worse than Engage Kiss because Guilty Crown had way too much railroading at the beginning. I think this was the type of like setup and stuff like that here was a little bit more natural. Um, the formula here is like stale and bad, but it's like what happened to Guilty Crown was just like nonsense. It was just like stuff just like happening, and then it's like, oh, I'm gonna create drama by killing Haru and doing all that bullshit. And then at the end, it's like, oh, she starts. Oh, it's like it was all tied to Mana all along. Oh, you need to fucking Inori starts dancing on the DDR pad and fucking and like lasers start like raining down on the planet. It was just bad, bad, bad plot. So I would say Guilty Crown is much worse. Uh, as for the rating,
What's it better than?
not that much. But the thing
it,
is, I also
it better
you
than
guys
Revice?
Revice.
Yeah, that's the real question, buddy. Why don't you just watch Kamen Rider Revice instead?
Yeah,
How about that?
Spire, the joke is a bunch of the things you were saying can also be associated
Directly
with Revice.
applied with Revice.
yeah.
Memory stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
But
in Contract Demons,
And it sounds like it's handled significantly better.
and I so again, like you guys all know this, but it's like I handle like like mediocrity. Like I rate mediocrity a lot lower than a lot of people here do, right? Just because I don't, I am optimistic, but I always try to keep high standards. So in terms of this, just like, especially since like the Saikano author should have improved after writing Saikano, he should have looked inwards. He should have reflected. I got lucky. I failed upwards. I wrote about 4 girls doing retard shit for a while, and then I got money for this, right? So I should improve upon my writing, but he apparently didn't improve upon his writing. So, um, I would say, God, I would say it's like a 4 out of 10. I think 3 out of 10 is like around the 4 out of 10 is like the bottom line for my mediocre series. Like it's so mediocre and like there are flaws like poking holes in it. Like that it starts becoming seriously bad. And like 3 and lower is like where I start being like, okay, like XYZ, A B C D E stuff about this is like significantly bad and like no, like I will not put up with this shit. So I would say probably 4, 4 out of 10. But yeah. Anyways, that was my review of Engage Kiss. I wouldn't really suggest that you watch it, but you can do what you want. You live your own lives. It is Engage Kiss multimedia project. I believe again, game is apparently based off something entirely different. As Neo said, it's Engage Kill instead.
Seems to be.
So check that out if you want to. This isn't very good. Anime original made by or helped produced by A1 Pictures, 2D design. I think the main guy doing the 2D design, again, I don't know whether he has a team, is headed by Production IG, has a bunch of subcontractors. Obviously, they are also, A1 Pictures is also working on Licorice Recall, so they're focusing on that as well. So, anyways, that was my coverage of Engage Kiss. And last but not least, Toast, what do you have for us today?
I got Reiwa Girls.
Yes, Real Girls, also known as Prima Doll.
Oh, right, Prima Doll. Whoops, I'm
Yes.
thinking somewhere else. All right,
And this is done by, I believe,
Ebury
yeah,
Animation
Babysitting Animation
Studios. I have
Studio.
no idea who this is, other than they did the first Azure Lane.
Yeah, they did Azure Lane. They did
Yeah.
one other thing, right? I
They
remember.
did Go Tobun Season 2. I still don't know what those funny
Oh
symbols
no,
are.
they started with Kursaya Phantom Trigger. Like their initial sort of like contract and like project to like give them money was by doing the Kursaya Phantom Trigger stuff. So they started with that. They did Azure Lane the animation, and then they started moving on to other stuff like season 2 of Kultobun, Quintessential Quintuplets. They did
What are those
the
two
recent
funny
Black Rock
symbols
Shooter.
after it?
Isn't it like
I don't know. You tell me. You're the music guy.
isn't
Four
whoa.
double forte?
Yeah, it's like double forte
Mezzo
or something
forte?
like
Is it
that.
mezzo forte? I don't know.
No, it's fortissimo or something like that if they do. I don't know whether they actually have the full lines though. But yeah, anyways, that's beside the point. Anyways, Prima Doll. Also, the original idea was created by PA Works. Is this a Jun Maeda work?
Yes.
I don't believe so.
No. It's definitely a key work.
Yeah, but
Yes,
I don't think Jun Maeda
it's
is
visual arts
working on it.
key. Jun Maeda did the opening here. Let's see this. Yeah, okay. So the series composition and the script was not made by Jun Maeda, but he did do the music, or he did help with music opening and stuff like that. And the original character design and everything else is pretty much a mixture of like the PA Works team and like veterans that Biburi pulled in essentially.
And apparently this is also a multimedia project.
Yes, it is a game. It is a mobile game, I believe. Right?
Really?
Yeah,
Is it?
I think
think
so.
so,
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure it's not a visual novel. It's an actual, just like a
Is it
mobile game.
I never saw
Yes.
anything about the mobile game yet.
It's kind of similar to didn't Key Studio also do like Heaven Burns Red or whatever the fuck that was, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it like similar to that maybe? The mobile game structure. But yeah, anyways,
But apparently there's a web novel. Sure.
yeah, I mean it's like a general multimedia project, but it's probably also leaning into a game and stuff like that
All
because
right.
that makes money.
So let's do our story summary. All right. So starts in the year 5071 of some unknown era, and it's like they show off the first doll or whatever, and she's on a train. Cool. And then they get attacked by I guess the rebel army or whatever. No. And then a bunch of robots go berserk and stuff. And so the first what are they called? The first Prima Doll, Oka, goes out to fight them. And she does so by apparently what the Prima Dolls do is they fight
Link and
other.
control.
Yeah, sure. This
Yeah.
this happens on something called the Daybreak Incident,
Hmm.
and then 30 years later, like after the war or whatnot, some more Prima Dolls are going berserk, also known as Magia. And then what happens is the main character, what's her name? Hi Sakura.
Hi Sakura. Yeah, Hi Sakura.
Hi Sakura fights a bunch of these Magia in an amusement park after being recruited by some chick in a limousine. I think was it a limousine or some dude in a limousine, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we don't. Yeah, I mean, it's like
And then it's a pretty cool show.
it's.
They fight. They
Do you
fight.
want me to give the summary to us, or
No,
what's
I'm
going
giving
on
the
here?
summary.
All right.
So these Prima Dolls, they fight the Magia in order, and there's a bunch of them that are the Prima Dolls that are going berserk.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like there are a bunch of like it's post-war time where
Here.
like there was a previous war
He doesn't
involving
know.
like the automata and stuff like that. But then, um,
Fire,
what is it?
it's fire. You didn't get it, so I have to explain it all over again.
What?
Don't worry about it. Okay, so 30 years after the first of, I guess, the beginning of the war's ended. So now all the Prima girls that are retired after the war, and society doesn't exactly know what to do with them. So
Right.
some dude, and then there's some dude who just, I guess, recruits them into his cafe. So this series is about daily lives of 4 Prima girls plus one plus another one,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
how they
the
try to
cast
integrate
increases. The
society and
cast
whatnot.
increases as it goes. Yeah, as it goes along.
Oh, Inspire,
Um,
if you didn't get the joke, half of my explanation was the first episode of 01.
I, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know about this thing. I literally do not watch Kamen Rider, so
That's the joke. Is that
Yikes.
01 was about human gears, which is what robots that gain sentience. So, and this is what these are. They're basically
Mhm.
sentient robots because they apparently all have reached a singularity where they're fully independent and
yeah,
whatnot. So they have real AI and not
yeah,
artificial AI. So yeah, this series is about all these girls in their daily lives and the foreboding, the
yeah, and their
fragile
backgrounds.
state of the
Right,
country, and there's always a threat of a war
right,
back
right,
on.
right.
So there's 9 episodes of this,
Hmm.
and the first 6 episodes, each one is one all about the different girls.
Yeah, each of the backgrounds of each of the girls. Yeah, yeah,
So
and kind of helping them out as well along the way.
what's fun is that there's 7 different endings because of it.
Yeah, each ending is different and sung by a different person or one of the voice actresses for the characters. So it's
And
different each time,
this
pretty
makes
much.
sense because all of the main cast, guess what? They're all like idols in some way.
Yeah, they all there's a lot of like insert songs and like singing and stuff like that. In the show as well. Like they'll literally have like scenes where it's like they go out on like not like a concert stage, but like they'll go out on stage and like start singing and stuff. So there'll be stuff like that.
I guess I'll go down the characters. First character is a Sakura. She's the pink haired girl. She's your typical happy-go-lucky thing. Her thing is she's a prima doll with no memory or whatnot. So she's a blank slate. She has mysterious powers and whatnot. and that's the first episode. And then there was first episode. How dare you do that to me? Because they introduce one character, and it's like, oh, let's introduce her with a Haizakura, and I might as well spell it. It's just the first episode.
Yeah,
Haizakura meets this broken Prima
Yugiri.
Doll, Yugiri, yeah. And it's like, oh, Yugiri doesn't work. We don't know how to fix her, but then Haizakura somehow fixes her because she's broken. And there's this whole arc about this. Yugiri is related to this recurring secondary character that you see throughout the series, Chio. It's like this little girl,
Hmm.
whatnot. And Yugiri was the one who took care of her before the war started. Then, so Chio's wish was to meet Yugiri again, but since Yugiri was badly damaged throughout the war, no way to start her back up. Somehow, Haizakura starts her up, but only for a limited time because she's broken or whatnot. So it's like we're gonna revive this dead girl for one episode and then kill her off again
Hmm.
for her sadness, and I'm like, damn, you really gotta do that to me, huh? And then like episodes 1 through 6, it's exploring. Hey,
Yeah,
this
it's
is the
like just like each of the different girls, and also again, Chio also helps kind of m- not fix them, but like do something like help with a little thing in their lives, or like help them kind of move past the hurdle in their lives,
fixes
kind
them
of.
in the way that all of them have some sort of debilitating trauma or injury
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
that that they have to live with, and Haizakura either fixes it or eases their
Hel-
soul. So
yeah,
it's
it helps them live with it. Yeah, exactly.
like there was one with Hokiboshi, the blue-haired one, where
Hmm.
she can't talk because of some they can't figure out why. Then there's a whole
Hmm.
story arc with, I think it's episode 3 or
Yeah,
4.
it's one of the earlier. No, yeah,
Uh,
it's after the yellow hair girl. It's like after Geka
I'm
or
not
something
gonna
like that.
spoil what that episode is because it's actually pretty cool. But yeah, see,
Yeah,
she
it's
gets her
pretty good.
voice back and then she sings her song, and I'm like, that's cool.
Hmm.
Then there's the yellow-haired girl, Geka. She's kind of
Yeah,
cool. She's short. She's a reconnaissance
I
robot.
like
She
her
can
the most,
fly.
honestly.
Yeah, because she can fly and has a
Yeah.
gun.
And she like does a lot of stuff like throughout the series actually.
I mean, for retired prima dolls, she's actually the one that sees most combat
Mm,
for a recon unit. And then there's Karasuba, the black-haired one.
mhm,
He's She was thrown out in the middle of a battlefield and fixed with junk parts. So every so often, and she's like one of the older models, so her arm and leg don't work so well.
mhm.
She's a cripple girl. And a fun fact that I learned while watching the episode is she's voiced by Tomori Kusunoki. And if you don't know, and if you didn't follow the news last year, Tomori Kusunoki has some sort of uh, debilitating uh, muscle thing where it
Mhm.
makes it hard for her to dance for long periods of time.
Right.
And I was like, hey, that fits just like your character because she's got a bum leg. I'm like, what are the odds of that? Huh, Spire?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
can't
mean,
dance for a long period of time either. I don't want to brag or anything.
yeah, yeah, I think,
Then
yeah.
there's Retzel.
I guess my question would be for that character in particular, do they like do anything beyond super surface level stuff with that, or is it like, what you would expect with like, you know, sort of managing functioning with paralysis?
Oh, but there's a whole arc where she injures her leg again, and then the dude who fixed her is like, well, I can fix your leg, and she's like, no, or she's like, I can replace your broken leg, and she's like, no, repair it because you were the one who found me on that battlefield and fixed. So I like this petrified body of mine, and I'm like, okay, Frankenstein. So I guess that's, I don't know, would you call that surface level? Because
Um,
she's okay with how her body is, even though it's
Well, the whole point of
girl
that
on
sort
top
of episode is not really. I mean, it's her body stuff, but it's also her relationship with the
the manager. I don't care
yeah,
about
the
it.
manager. That's the more important part of that episode. So, in my opinion, at least. So,
I mean, some of them are surface level, or no, I don't think they're surface level because the Hokiboshi episode that was pretty deep. That's a
that was pretty
pretty
good.
deep
Yeah,
emotional level, and then the one with the Retzel, where she was she's a military prima doll from another country,
yeah, she's a spy.
and she was reset and she was a spy, and then when she finds out her country's gone, she tries to suicide herself by cop, and I was like, kind of deep.
Obviously,
And
also
she gets better,
spoilers.
but it's okay.
But
But yeah,
in terms of the overall, so kind of
but
zooming out to the
that's the half. That's halfway through the series. The latter part of the series after episode 6 is delving into the nature. Is delving into like
yeah, it's going back into the whole like
another
because
war
they're
is gonna
setting up the
start.
plot to like do the climax between like the
There's a rebel because after the war, there's prima dolls are not supposed to be military weapons anymore, but there's a rogue faction that's trying to start another war with prima dolls.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what's happening in the story right now.
in terms of the general sort of um I know this is like a mobile game. It's gonna be adapted to mobile games, so it's like a lot of the plot is kind of going to shit, and it's like based around the it's mainly based around like the girls anyways, but it's like how do you think the plot is doing kind of juggling between the sort of slice of life scenes, events slash scenes, doing juggling that, juggling the sort of general plot of the automata, with like the Oka and like the whole like oh the robots are being controlled and then doing that stuff. And also the backgrounds of each of the girls and like how they're sort of developing. So it's like the Prima Doll is trying to juggle all of that at the same time, right? Do you think it does like an okay job of juggling that, or do you think there's like a specific focus or what?
There's a slow build up towards the overall plot. Like so
Hmm.
far, each episode's been it. We're gonna
Yeah,
introduce these girls, slice of life, get them through their problems. But in every episode, there's like, oh, some they're doing some military stuff in the background with the main character because the main or
right.
not the character, the manager, because the
Yeah,
manager is a formal big figure in the military or something, and he's watching over them. But
right,
every so often, he steps out and it's like, oh, these keep trying to say human gear, but these I don't know. Let's see these robots, whatever.
right,
Because the main focus of the Prima Girls' power is that they can sync up to a bunch of like robotic soldiers on the battlefield, which
right.
increases their military might overall. So yeah, there's always some sort of fighting going on in each episode. Like with the Gecko one, there was a recon robot from like an enemy country that she saw, and then so she took to the skies and shot it out.
Mhm.
And then some other robots going berserk in the Karasuba episode. So it's a slow build up, but you got it's you always got to have some plot with the sad girl stuff. That's what this
do
is.
you do you like do you like mostly just the girl's background part, or do you want to see more of the just the plot at this
I'm
point?
fine with it because we've
Yeah.
already established like each character, so
Mhm.
their mini arcs are done. Now all we have to do is ride on toward the finale with whatever it's going to be, because we still have to solve the mystery of who Haizakura is because she has a unique ability.
Ikagra, right, or whatever it is, the black hair girl. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's the last member introduced. She's a mysterious girl that's somehow connected to Oka, who is the progenitor of all of the robots,
Yeah,
prima
yeah, yeah.
girls, prima dolls, and yeah. So
Okay.
that's about it.
Okay.
Series is, I mean, I like
Yeah.
the characters because they're all
Mhm.
unique in some way. They're singing. I mean, if you throw in an insert song, I'm all for it. Sure, why not? I like my insert songs and character songs. Um, what else? Yeah, I mean, I generally like this series. It's for
Mhm.
a key series with sad girls and a post-apocalyptic world, and somehow trying to blend real life issues with with fantasy issues.
Mhm.
It's definitely better than their previous works. Like, what was the last key thing that came out?
Isn't it Summer Pockets? It's either Heaven Burns Red or Summer Pockets, right? It's like one of those.
Summer
Did Summer Pockets come out
Loopers.
before or after the day or whatever it was? Um Near. Can you
Huh?
can you help a brother out? Did Summer Pockets come out before or after the day it became a god? Wait, they became yeah, that was with the help of Key, right? Or Jinmaida, right?
I believe so. I think it was before.
Okay. Um
Yeah.
okay, it's 2020 2020.
Summer
Summer
Pocket.
Pockets was 2018. Okay, okay. So it's probably Day I Became a God and then Heaven Burns Red were like the two most recent ones that they worked on, I think. In terms of like new series and not like remakes or side whatever. So, okay.
How long was Charlotte?
Charlotte was like
12
fuck.
episodes.
Charlotte yeah, Charlotte was 12 episodes, right?
Charlotte
Yeah.
kind of sucked.
It wasn't 24. No, it's
How long?
13. 13, sir.
13.
Plus OVA.
I don't know. I didn't like Charlotte all that much.
Yeah. It wasn't good.
I don't think.
But yeah,
Oh, right. I forgot. Yeah, okay. Anyways, sorry. Any last words? And
maybe
also,
because
Mel.
maybe because I like Kamen Rider Zero One and Planetarian and Robot Girls and they're in the Clannad
Hmm.
universe. This one's right. I mean, I like all the characters. They do their cute girl things. I heard this was being compared. This series is a mishmash of Gochumon because it's a cute girls in a cafe, and then Violet
Violet
Evergarden.
Evergarden. I was so
Violet
yeah. I kind of like wanted to bring it up, but I didn't think it would be a productive discussion. Because it's like
It's post-war girls.
yeah,
Trying to
I
give
didn't think it would be a productive question. Is why I didn't why I didn't bring it up because you were already kind of going through all the salient points very well about the series. So I was just like, even if I asked this question, it would not be a very good discussion. So that's why, yeah. But it's very like it'll the whole like oh it's Violet Evergarden with cute girls. That sort of thing is gonna come
definitely
up.
not as
Yeah.
serious and melodramatic as Violet Evergarden.
Uh huh.
It's definitely lighter than that because
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what is it? Heizucker is not a depressed girl with robot arms.
Yeah.
She's super bubbly and she's there to help all the other depressed girls, try to find their happiness or whatnot. So she's a completely different character than.
Mhm.
Is her name actually Violet Evergarden?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I guess you can make the apt comparison, but only like on the surface level. I've also heard this compared to was it Plastic Nason, where it's a
Plastic Memories, right? Not Plastic Nation. Plastic Memories.
is that which one was the one with with the plastic girl that's dying?
That's
I'm
Plastic
That's
pretty.
Memories.
Plastic
Yeah, it
Memories.
says
That's not,
Plastic Nation
Plastic Nation is
yeah,
like,
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The
Plastic
comedy series.
Nason is one where, well, the girl
It's the
gets
one with the infamous like.
killed more than dies, but
Yeah, it's the one with the infamous like YouTube clip of like the guy with like the panties, right? Or like coming like doing the crab legs,
yeah.
whatever. Right. Yeah.
I thought you were
But yeah.
going to
I
say
mean,
the
there's a
one
lot
where
of famous scenes of
he gets
Plastic
slammed into
Nason
a
with
wall
the
and is like, "You
yeah,
want to start a
slammed
war?"
into the wall.
Yeah.
There's
Exactly.
there's the one where she's got the bag between her legs, but yeah.
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 Anyways, Mal rating for this series, Prima Doll, Toast.
What is why is the Mel rating 6.7? It's not that bad.
Well, again, trusting Mal rating on anything is very. You're not gonna have a great time.
I like the characters. I like the story. It's not that super deep. No one's died yet, so there's no tragedy tag. Unless you count Yugiri, but she's not dead. She's just sleeping, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this series like an 8.5 out of 10. That's higher than a 7.
It is indeed, Toast.
That is higher than 7.
Most of my series do become like a 7. That's my average.
Okay.
But I don't know how much they can do after this anime, because with the
Well, they probably aren't going to do much because it's like the game is just going
final
to be
arc is
probably gets
probably just gonna wrap up like the mystery between Haizakura and how she's
yeah.
connected to the progenitor series of robots.
Oh, you mean just in the anime, right? Yeah, I mean that's yeah.
I mean,
I think
and
that's
then what are you gonna go from there? That's like there's
it's
not
just gonna
really
be
much
side
going
stories.
on.
It's just gonna
Yeah,
be side stories and maybe like some like
all you have left
plus
is
if.
slice of life with the girls. There's no
Yeah.
more.
I think if you're talking about the game's probably just gonna do side stories. It's gonna do like a if route or maybe something like that, and then maybe just do like
Yeah,
like a prequel kind of thing.
I highly doubt they're gonna send them back into battle again, because they're having
Yeah,
fun in there
it's
in the Black Cat Cafe, singing and dancing and know, just doing their thing. They're not
I
gonna
never
send
say
them back
never,
to
man, for
battle.
another season. All right. Oh, Musume got 2. Okay.
I mean, it's
yeah.
if there's gonna be a second season of this, it's probably gonna be a whole new cast of characters. Like either trying to oh, we gotta fight in the war again, or it's gonna be
Yeah, it's
or it's
gonna
gonna be
yeah. I
like
know what you're talking about.
how these characters possibly were fighting in the war, maybe,
Mm,
but I highly doubt that.
yeah.
So for 12 episodes and probably it is what it is what it's gonna be. It's not
Yeah.
it's for what it is, I like it. Definitely one of the better emotionally driven key works that they've done in a long time.
Yeah. I
Probably
mean, to be
because
fair, it's not the highest bar, but yeah, I agree.
it's definitely better than what they've done last time, because the characters are quirky, but not super quirky like they are in usually these key series.
Huh?
So like
Yeah.
you've seen the characters in Charlotte, right? They're
Yes. Near would
kind of
like to
cringe,
have a
bro.
comment, but
Kind of cringe. These characters, they're just cute girls doing their thing. Leave them alone.
all right. Wow.
Yeah, my favorite character is Karasuba, but Gek- Gekka's shot more guns than anyone else in this series.
Yeah, I like Gekka
She's
just because she
silent.
has so much like action and stuff like that in the
What's
series.
her name? Retzel. Why is it Retzel, not Pretzel? Retzel's supposed to be like the what is it? Spy, and she's got knives and stuff, but she never shoots anyone because she's fake. Gekka actually shoots people and killed a robot, so damn, she's the dangerous one.
All right.
Yeah,
Anyways,
good series.
uh,
Check it out. Audio
yeah,
visuals, it's fine,
yeah,
especially on the high end. I didn't see any drop in quality anywhere. And,
yeah, it's pretty solid all around. Again, it's
audio,
by
get 7
Blueberry.
songs.
Yeah,
You get one song for every character. That's cool.
yeah,
Plus inserts. Yeah, it's good. Check it out.
yeah.
It's not gonna break any records or anything, but it's definitely a good self-contained story.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely agree with regards to the content. Decently solid for what it is. Um, and surprisingly decent for something that was born out of need to make a multimedia project again without the
He
help of
needed
Jun
money,
Maeda.
but it's like, damn, it's actually kind of good.
But Jun Maeda wouldn't come out of his hole to do anything except for the opening and stuff like that. So
It's
it was
like when they try to do a passion project, when Key tries to do a passion project, it sucks. But when they need money and do a multimedia, it's actually kind of good. How does that even?
yeah, it's a little bit weird these days. But yeah, anyways, thank you, Toast, for helping to cover our Prima Doll. And again, this is a multimedia project, anime portion of the multimedia project, headed by Visual Arts slash Key Studios. This is not Jun Maeda writing it. Jun Maeda is only doing the opening, but all the other visual arts key Goon Squad, the artists like Naga and like Lag and stuff like that are all kind of popping in to help out. The animation production is mainly being headed by Bibri Animation Studio, I believe. So obviously there's a bunch of other subcontractors, but
How come this looks so good, but Azure Lane kind of
yeah. Well,
teetered off
again,
near the very end?
probably the
It teetered off
the
after like 3 or 4 episodes.
yeah. I mean,
Rough.
again, it's probably dependent upon like who they the subcontractors that they pass it off to and all that. So there's probably some weird like underlying circumstances for that. But yeah. So
Why
thank
is
you,
freaking
Toast.
wait, hold on. Why is Gotobun 8.11 on Mall? And
Why
this
do
is
you think it's not? It's really not rocket science because these people are fucking retarded, bro. It's not.
hold on.
I run
What
a
is
very like I'm very like Occam's razor about these sorts of things. It's like I don't need to really look beyond the. I don't look a dumb horse in the mouth. I just assume that it's dumb. You know what I mean?
Rental
Like,
Girlfriend 7.17, Nisekoi 7.59. How is this?
yeah, bro. Exactly. All accurate scores. Anyways, thank
So,
you,
all
Toast, for
accurate. So
helping.
you're saying Gotobun's better than those two?
It's apparently what Mal says, but again, we do need to move on, Toast. So, thank you very much for helping to cover Prima Doll, and we're going to move straight on to the news here. So, there's not too much to cover in the news. Just gonna run through it real quick. Oh, actually, never mind. There is. I lied. God, fuck. Okay. Uh, you're gonna love this one. um, entertainment industry news website Deadline reported on Monday that this was on the 22nd of August. That Tsutsui Yasutaka's Paprika novel is inspiring a live action series at Amazon Studios and HiveMind.
Yeah.
Novel? What do you mean novel? Wasn't it a movie?
Oh, it inspired an anime film later in
1993. That's too old. No one was born that watched that.
but yeah. Yeah, live action Hollywood film of Paprika.
I mean, like, it is true that Paprika is a novel first, but really, whenever anybody mentions Paprika ever in like literally any context,
Mm,
the first thing people think of is Satoshi Kon's film, right?
mm,
And like that is basically like that is the series legacy at this point.
yeah.
And I think if you're really I don't know. I think if you're really out here attempting to adapt anything, literally fucking anything that Satoshi Kon has worked on, like it better be fucking good.
Yeah.
Because if it's bad, like I
People will
don't
come
know,
after you.
that like
People will come after you.
that's
Yeah.
like a fucking cardinal sin, dude.
Yeah.
Like
You
Satoshi
you
Kon is a fucking legend for a reason. Um,
you think all like the Sakuga nerds like were autistic before? Like you have no idea how
I mean, it's
like
and obviously, Satoshi Kon's not around anymore to really like green light something like this to be like, yeah, you like I give it my blessing. Um, so like it's gonna be that's a fucking mountain you're climbing, man. I don't
yeah.
know. I think it's a really bad idea.
Who's
I think the source material in general is I don't think it's possible to make this live action unless you're paying like Avengers level money for the fucking visual effects.
Yeah.
But like yeah, like it's not possible to live up to like a Satoshi Kon work, I think. So I think it's dumb to even try.
it's the producer is Kathy Yan, who did Dead Pigs. I've never seen that movie, and Birds of Prey. Wasn't that the Harley Quinn movie?
Yeah,
Was it good?
I mean, it was fun. I wouldn't say it was good personally, but yeah, like again, I don't think it really matters who's behind it. Like, it's probably not gonna end up good, just straight up. But yeah, this is. I mean, it's just frustrating to see that like Hollywood is really out here being like, yeah, we're just gonna desecrate like fucking like holy scripture basically for
Yeah.
anime. Like
Yeah, exactly.
it's
Just fuck you guys. It's like
yeah.
we're just gonna do this. Yeah, it's very unfortunate.
Why that though? It's like, why?
Because
everything?
it's on their list of buzzwords. It's like
Yeah.
something one of their staff members have
It
heard
is. It's a
before. It's
popular
like, oh, it's
series. It's a
anime.
popular
Yeah,
brand.
exactly,
Like it's
exactly.
the same
It's
reason they
not.
did Cowboy Bebop. It's the same
And
reason
they're doing
they're
Death Note.
trying to do Akira. It's the same reason they're doing Death Note over and over again.
Yeah,
Like it's a popular series. It's a popular brand.
yeah.
Speaking of popular brand, how many times are they gonna try and reboot the Resident Evil franchise and fail?
As many times as it keeps making
Many
money.
times. Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it's like there's the live action movies, there's the CG movies, which are canon. Some people might not like them, but I like them. There's the one that recently came out where they tried to retell like Resident Evil 1 and 2. I haven't seen it. I heard it was super bad. Then there's the Netflix one, which is, oh boy,
Canon.
like that writing's complete garbage. Like never mind anything else.
But yeah, I mean, live action adaptations will always just be shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be Hollywood. But yeah, moving on. The next piece of also extremely surprising news is Dojin Circle Seat Kikan revealed on Twitter on Saturday that Yoshimitsu Kagami's Lucky Star manga is getting a revival, and it will transfer to Kataka's Mitaina, Mita, Mit- Mitaina magazine, starting with its third issue on October 10th. The original manga was on hiatus since 2014 due to a new project that he was planning. I don't know what that new project was. But yeah, it's yeah, yeah.
How do you
It-
even bring back Lucky Star without it feeling dated?
I think you can bring it back, but it's an eternal conflict, right? Because it's like if you use modern context, like I think you can do. I think you could have Lucky Star with modern context, but then all the people who wanted the old Lucky Star will complain. If you do the straight, just like old references Lucky Star, then it'll feel dated. So I think it's in almost like you really can't like properly win situation. You know what I mean? It's
Because
gonna be weird.
Lucky Star is definitely one of those one of those series that definitely feels like 2000s like
Yeah,
anime.
I mean,
And
it thrives on that atmosphere. It's like it's supposed to, but it's like I think you could try to do it with a new context, and it could succeed or not succeed. But it's like it could feel okay with its like with a modern context. But then again, the problem becomes: do the fans want that new context? Right? It's that's the issue. So
has
I don't know.
any mangaka from the late from like the late 2000s
Mhm.
with that kind of art style and like four coma style narrative have any of them successfully transitioned to like the 2020s? I can think of
Yeah,
one.
I think there are like there's at least a couple of series that have survived up until um this like just even I mean up until now. I think Minami K is like one of them or something like that. But it's like uh
I'd count Kenjiro Hata as one.
yeah, you're talking about Hayate, right?
Yeah,
I believe.
Hayate and then Tomikaka
Yes,
Kawaii. That's good. That's good.
yes. But even Hayate isn't really like Hayate didn't go mud deep in like waist deep in the references as like Lucky Star did, right? So it's a little bit more timeless than
I'm also talking about the dated art style.
maybe, yeah. I mean, I think obviously with the arts, we would have to see if they're like if the author like really thinks about changing it or just like keeps the same stuff or whatever. But that's a little
It's
bit
been what,
more.
14 years, 8
Yeah,
years?
that's definitely a little bit more on like up to the artist preferences and like subjective than the whole like references thing. So we'll see how it kind of pans out. But yeah, Lucky Star definitely a interesting surprise. So we'll see how it goes. Another piece of news here. The Association of Japanese Animations, AJA, launched a comprehensive database on anime called Anime Tizen, Anime Complete Works, on Thursday. Anime Tizen is part of the Anime Next 100 project to commemorate the 100th anniversary of anime, with first historical record being in 1917. The database includes details such as release date, staff, and voice actors for about 15,000 titles created since 1917. Users can search for information using keywords, names, and dates. Like the thing is, it's like this is like nice because it's like obviously Japan, like the people making this and like Japanese people will only have information that's like can really only be found in like the depths of Japan somewhere, right? With like the old like Japanese anime and stuff like that. But it's like it's cute and that's about it, which is a little bit unfortunate because like
Yeah.
I think this sort of thing is like cool to like it would be cool to expand upon, but it's like nobody's gonna expand upon it, which is like unfortunate. So, but a little bit cool thing if you want to check it out again, it's called Anime Tizen. Um, and last piece of it's not really like a piece of news, but it's like I just wanted to point out, and we haven't done like COVID news for yeah anime IMDb. I think yeah Bell SRS in chat said anime IMDb. I think the issue is it's like it's the same with like analysts. It's like nowadays, like people are like people know that there's this like sort of chunk of like anime information on the internet, and there's like no real big need to like go out and create like new database, which is like really unfortunate because like there's still other information that could be like put into the database, but it's like I don't know. It's like there's still some information out there, but and the databases we have aren't necessarily like it covers like 70-80% of the stuff that we have, but not enough. But then nobody really wants to like really go out and make a new stuff. Like again, like Analyst is essentially pulling from the same database as my anime list is. And the Japanese companies, what did they do? Instead of making their own stuff, because you know how Japanese companies are infamous for making their own like third-party software and everything, right? And even the Japanese companies were just like, nope, we're not doing that. We're just gonna buy up my anime list, right? like they if it was anybody, the Japanese companies would have made their own app, but they didn't. They bought up my anime list. They're probably gonna buy up other anime manga database sites soon, and it's gonna be after going. Oh, okay. So the actual official site is called animedb.jp. So again, um, Bell in chat has posted that. So yeah. Oh, so it's like a database, but it also has like weird like it has like news and stuff like that. So it's like a general site, but it'll be cute. But hopefully, maybe if like AJ, I know like because AJ is like an actual just like general association. It's like Association of Journalists. It's kind of like that sort of organization. Um, it's like a professional organization. But I wish AJA would maybe work with like the other publishers like Shueisha, like Shogakukan, like uh why am I forgetting the names here? um but yeah, I wish they would work with like the big publishers to create like a more comprehensive, like updated database. But I know that they won't, which is a little bit unfortunate. But anyways, the last piece of news again, we don't really do that much like COVID news recently, but this just reminded me because the Japanese government reported on Wednesday, and this Wednesday on late last week of August ish, The Japanese government reported on Wednesday that it will raise the maximum daily number of allowed entries into the country to 50,000 starting for September 7th. The government will also begin accepting tourists without in-person guides. So it's like they're releasing restrictions and stuff like that. But the issue is like this is coming at a time where we know Japan is still getting. Imagine JP software devs making good long-term decisions. Yeah. We know that like Japan is still getting hit with COVID like every day. Like even in like the anime news network stuff, like Newsroll alone, or the RSS feed Newsroll, whatever alone, like almost every single day we see 1, 2, 3 celebrities just catching COVID every single day. And if every day, like, those few celebrities are catching COVID, imagine if we extrapolated that to like the number of people who are catching COVID in Japan all the daily. So while COVID is still raging in Japan, it's a little bit, I know that there are probably like company societal pressures, business economic pressures pushing the Japanese government to reopen stuff, but it's still really bad. And another news that's related to the consequences of this is apparently Isekai Oji-san, Uncle from Another World, that the manga version announced, or sorry, the website announced on Wednesday that the anime's 8th episode and beyond have been delayed indefinitely due to rapid increases in COVID-19 infections within Atelier Pondar
Incredible.
and other studios involved in the anime's production. So like this is just like one of the symptoms, and it's just very unfortunate that Japan has kind of failed in really going through with properly with their lockdown policies, and now people are just catching COVID left, right, and center. And
It's gonna be fun.
Well, I mean, I don't even think they failed in their lockdown policies. It was the fact that they fucking flip-flopped so many times that it was like...
Yeah, well, that's what I mean by the failure. It's like they kept
Yeah,
being
it
like
was
locked down, but
it
then like Saitama is
was like
open
the
again, but then it's
worst
closed. Yeah.
examples of like what parts of the U.S. tried to fucking do.
Yeah, and even when they open, it's like they only, or when they like close and stuff like that, they only really like um a lot of their sort of main focus was on Osaka, Saitama, and like Tokyo, like the three like major sort of metropolitan like the places with like the most people, right? And that's it's kind of similar to being like, all right, we're gonna have the lockdown, but it's mainly gonna be around like the Houston, like Texas region. It's gonna be in New York City, and it's gonna be in LA and like Washington D.C. And that's about it. And we're gonna focus
Yeah,
the
it's
lockdowns.
not gonna actually
You know
do
what I mean?
anything.
Yeah, exactly. You need to make sure that shit is like slammed down. So it's again very unfortunate.
Next month's gonna be fun, Spire, because Niji Fest is next month,
God damn
and
it,
I
yeah.
think it
And
has
I mean,
live
Summer
audience.
Comic Con it has already happened as well. Summer Comic Con number 100, Comic Con 100 has happened as well. And I can't. I'm just imagining all the infections that are going to happen from that, and it's just very unfortunate. Yeah. So
Boy,
yeah. So we're just moving on to our last section again. After this episode, we're gonna next in the next 2 weeks, right? Next in our next podcast, we're gonna do our fall preview. So this is our last review episode for summer 2022. So that was pretty much it. And our last section is going to be our shout outs and calls. Everybody here gets one shout out and one call out each. Shout out can be, shout out one thing that you want to praise, five stars on Yelp. Hail, hail with, all smiles on deck. And it can be any one person, place, or thing. And call it is the exact opposite, something that you want to rant, rage, 0 out of stars, stomp on the ground as if it was your most detested enemy. And it can be any one person, place, or thing. And we start off with Dark. Shout out call, please.
Fucking shout out Genshin. Genshin's new patch, Sumeru.
Mm-hmm.
It's very fun. Very cool new world space. Very good music. A lot of music too. 3 whole hours of new music. Quite nice. So that's been very cool. I like it more than Inazuma. the Japanese like area. So
Yeah.
been very very fun.
And your call?
And then yeah, I think for my call out, I'm just gonna recall out gotcha communities because they're fucking stupid as hell.
Yeah, you gotta fight.
Between
We
Shizuka
gotta
Ito,
fight.
known as fucking like best known for these fucking Lux in the Japanese dub of League of Legends that no one fucking uses. But yeah, like there was that. There was trying to think of like what. Oh yeah, there was that. There was like people complaining that like a unit got nerfed. That the new unit like Freya or Frigg got nerfed.
Mhm.
But like compared to the Chinese version, and then these people have to be reminded over and fucking over again that the balance for global is completely different. It's why, considering like her status and the new character status that are coming up, like it looks like they're trying to keep the baseline characters extremely competitive. Whereas in China, a new elemental character comes out, and guess what? It's better than the fucking one that you rolled 3 months ago, dumbass. Like, enjoy.
Man,
Um,
most games when they have a Chinese version, it's always completely different from any other place in the world.
oh yeah, I mean this was China original, and then the thing that people, even Chinese players, were pissed about, um, was that characters are completely unbalanced. A new character comes out, and it fucking kills your old one. Um, but yeah, there was that, and people literally just not being able to comprehend, like, you know, they like Freya comes out for ice, like Frigg comes out, and then people are like, oh yeah, dude, when Saki comes out, the ice tank, fucking like 3 months, like 6 months from now, she's gonna get power crept because Saki's gonna also have this like frost bonus passive that Frigg didn't have in China. And I'm like, there's nothing that says that she's gonna guaranteed to have that. Like, which means she's not gonna get power crept. Also, she'd get power crept based on the Chinese stats. And so people had to have that explained to them. Now we're on, let's start complaining about $30 costumes again. We had that fucking whole thing with Genshin. Now it's time to do it
Again,
again.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying again, like I've said this like a million times by now, but it's like as soon as these like the people who play Genshin, the people who started out with Genshin, the people who started out with Tower Fantasy, as soon as they hit, as soon as one of these like Chinese companies who like make these games mainstream decide that okay, well these mainstream motherfuckers are ready for a 2% gotcha, they are so fucked. The
Yeah.
moment that
What's
these
it called
Chinese companies go,
is a
okay, we're gonna do
2%
2%
gotcha.
gotcha.
I'm pretty sure, actually. Pretty sure Tower Fantasy is a 2% gotcha.
Really?
Yeah, it's I think it's actually its rates for the banner. Its true rates are like 0.75, and with
Hmm.
the guaranteed it's 2%.
Ah, okay, okay,
Like
okay.
it's technically 2%, but it's actual like when you roll, you have a 0.75% chance. Which is pretty bad. But I'm trying to think of what else. Yeah, so then there was that. I agree with Nier. We were having a discussion earlier that like the mini pet essentially like costumes, like those are kind of in flux. Or like
Mhm,
if China bitched about them being like $15, there's a chance they could get lowered to like 10. Um,
mhm,
but what I don't think is I don't think any amount of bitching, even from like the Chinese community, let alone the West, would do anything to change the pricing of like a unit's costume being $30 for like a 3D games unit. Like
mhm.
I don't foresee like any costume ever being cheaper than that at this point, unless it's like a fucking recolor.
Right.
Because like I don't know, it's just like it's so standard that even if the Chinese like community bitched, I think at best you'd see like okay, now the costume comes with like some rolls or something, or the costume like this costume originally was going to be like $30, but instead we're bundling it with the premium battle pass, which is fucking $20. Like, I think that's at most like all you're ever gonna fucking see.
Right.
But you know, we got people on funny forums like Reddit being like, that's how capitalism works. You know, you vote with your wallet and you complain. And that's why, you know, PlayStation games are fucking $70 now, because you know that's how capitalism works. You know, we were all like, when games went from 50 to 60, and we were all like, that's fucking gay. And then now it's at $70. Everyone was like, you know what? Yeah, that's really stupid. And then
Yeah.
Yeah.
it didn't matter because they say, fuck you, this is what it costs.
Yeah, newsflash to people that think voting with your wallet works. It doesn't. It never has, and it never will. People will still continue fucking consume. It doesn't matter if you fucking band together and get thousands of people to boycott. Especially in a gacha situation where
Yeah, there are just too
you
many.
have.
Because gotchas
I
are
mean,
based on whales, anyways. So
it's
it's
like,
like,
I mean, outside of the fact that people are gonna whale regardless, you like majority of the time we're looking at situations where there's the actual version of the game and there's the global version of the game, right?
mhm.
And if the West is really out here being like, oh, we're gonna vote with our wallets, the most you're gonna achieve is the global version of the game gets sunsetted.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
all.
much.
Yeah.
That's all you're going to achieve.
So
Like
that's
that's
all that's
it.
Pretty
gonna
much.
happen.
As soon as you make the global version of a gacha game unprofitable, they'll close it down. They're not gonna
Yeah.
go, they're not giving us money via protest, so we're gonna really change the pricing or fix the rates. No, they're gonna fucking close the game down because they're not making money. Okay? Like voting with your wallet doesn't work. It's not gonna work in really any medium, but it's especially never gonna fucking work in gacha game. Like just like get it through your head. You're not fighting a holy crusade by not buying shit. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, it's
just
also,
say I'm not gonna buy it.
yeah.
That's
And that's what I mean. Like,
there's your
It's better
fucking
for your sanity. It's better for your
people,
sanity.
people were really out here, like, all like, yeah, man, like, fuck that, like, vote with your wallet. And then I was like, yeah, that literally doesn't, like, that's not how it works. Like, it's not going to work. And they're like, okay, well then, like, what else can we do? And it's like, nothing. You can shut the fuck up and not
It's
spam
unfortunate, but
forums
yeah,
because
you
you're
can't
like,
really do much.
well, yeah, I mean, in my original
Yeah.
like statement too, I was like, unfortunately, the standard is $30 unless a company, for whatever fucking reason, decides to say, you know what, these costumes, our costumes are going to be worth $15. Nothing's
Yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah,
There's
like
no, and
people
there's no
legitimately.
reason for them to do that.
Yeah, people unfortunately like really don't get that it's like right now like gotcha prices and rates and stuff like that are legitimately like how ISPs, like internet service providers, are set up around in like the United States, for example, where it's like they all have the same prices, they all have like the same sort of subscription rates and stuff like that. It's all the same. They all notice each other and they all work with each other to set up the same prices. And it's the same with all the other games. They all kind of are eyeing each other. They all know their prices. They're all kind of set at the same price level. So unless all of them change at the same time for a significant enough reason, none of them are. So
Yeah, I mean, they're just going to look to fuck you in a different way, like,
yeah,
at best.
yeah,
It's the same thing with like the rolling system in Tower of Fantasy, where people are like, "Oh, you know, like it's great because like your shit, like your pity rolls over," and I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. Just because your pity out of 80 for a 50-50 that is never guaranteed, like your guarantee is still at 120 tokens. So even if you're at fucking 70 out of 80 pity, you're still doing a 50-50 like every time. And all that means is that instead of next banner, if you're at, let's say you're at 40 out of 80 next banner, I had to explain to people, oh, I guess it's just a coincidence that after 40 rolls you hit your 50-50, and then you have 40 tokens you literally can't do anything with until you get to 80. And then when you're at 80, you're coincidentally halfway to another fucking 50-50, which once you hit that, then you can spend all of your shit on the character or on a dupe, and then you're at 0 tokens for the next banner or for anything else anyway. And you're now at 0 pity for the next banner too. Like, these things aren't set up to like fucking pamper you. They're set up to get you to buy shit.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyways,
Also, until Genshin fucking decides to drop its costumes to like $15, which it never will because it doesn't fucking have to, no game is going to do that. Because
yeah,
they know there's no reason to. No reason for a
as
game
long as
like
the
Tower of
supply is
Fantasy to have
there.
20. Yeah, and again, there's no reason for a game like Tower of Fantasy to drop its costumes to like fucking $15, $20 even, when a game like Genshin's charging 30 anyway, and PGR is charging 30, and fucking like Wuthering when it comes out is gonna charge fucking 30. Like every gotcha game under the sun's charging $30.
Pretty much.
Never gonna be a reason for them to change it, because a rising tide raises all ships or whatever the fuck it's called. And there's no reason for one of them to fucking sink themselves.
Yeah. Very unfortunate.
I don't know, man.
Uh,
Let's. I think. How much? I think that Azure Lane's costume prices are like 10 to 15. So
Yeah,
Yeah, but
that,
Azure
again,
Lane
that's a
comes out with a new
2D
costume
game,
every
too.
week.
It's also not a 3D action game like Gotcha.
anyways,
like 2D games, 2D games are gonna have a different beast, right?
okay, I do want to move on. Thank you, Dark, for your shout and call out. Near, shout out call, please.
I need to do a quick shout out to, because I forgot to when I was covering Yofukashi no Uta, but I just quick shout out to the OP and ED and just the OST in general. They're really good. They're really, really good. But actual shout out to, so I forget what film festival it was. But Brendan Fraser's new film premiered, I guess. And
Oh, at the Venice Film Festival, I think.
yes, yes. And it got a 6-minute standing ovation.
good.
And apparently, Brendan Fraser got quite emotional. But I just wanted to shout out, like, it's very cool. It's very good. It's very nice to see, like, Brendan Fraser being, like, praised and successful, like, just doing well, because he's had some pretty bad luck for a while. I like him a lot as an actor.
Who doesn't like Brendan Fraser?
Yeah,
That guy's.
I mean,
He's good.
His
he's very good. Yeah,
True.
but yeah, apparently, you know, his new movie is very, very good. And it's, hopefully soon we can be in a timeline where Brendan Fraser is, winning like Emmys and Grammys and shit. 'Cause, I think he definitely deserves some recognition for the stuff he's
Yeah, I
done.
mean, the word that I've read is this role easy Oscar. Like
Yeah, that is apparently what people are
for
saying.
how good it is, apparently just gonna easy cruise to an Oscar.
I want the Mummy 4.
We already got that, and it was with Tom
Yeah,
Cruise, and it was very
we got
bad.
that.
No,
But
that one's a
I
remake.
want less
I
eyes
I
in my
want a
mummy.
proper Mummy 4. Mummy 3 does not exist. I don't care about that
Yeah,
one.
well, I mean,
Yeah, I don't think anybody cares about
Brendan
it.
Fraser's got a lot of work to do before we get
Yeah.
another Mummy movie as well.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But as for callouts, I mean, I'm not too sure. I guess, like,
George of the Jungle 2.
I don't know. I kind of want to call out just like the. I don't know. So obviously we talked about earlier in like at the start of the show, but the new Lord of the Rings show came out, right?
Oh yeah.
And I haven't seen it, right? Because personally, I'm
That
not the
intro
biggest Lord of
wasn't
the Ring.
real, by the way.
Yeah. Personally, I'm not the biggest Lord of the Ring fans in the first place, so I wasn't really too interested. But from what I've heard, the new show is not very good, right?
Yeah.
Which really isn't a surprise. It very much to me sounds like a story of like too many cooks in the kitchen, right?
Mhm.
But I do want to call out the people that are like, again, I commented on it in the beginning, but the people that are like, there was never any mention of people like people of color or black people or whatever, in the original Tolkien novels. But it's also like, first of all, who cares?
Yeah, I know. It's like
Second of
whatever,
all,
man.
when Tolkien wrote those novels, like he probably fucking like never really saw black people. Like, let's be honest. Like, but like it's just like, what does it matter? Like, what does it matter? Like, we went through the same fucking debate when the Witcher
Yeah.
series was coming out, right? And the Witcher games as well. I remember when Witcher 3 was coming out, people were like, why is there not like a single fucking person of color in this entire game? And the devs were out here trying to like fucking like do a whole like fucking whiteboard of conspiracy theory shit where it's like, well, actually, it's in like Eastern Europe, and it's like, no, it's not, dude.
not.
It's the
They're
fucking Witcher.
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
it's a fantasy world. It literally doesn't matter. Like, and yeah, it's just like, you know, people can like bitch and moan about source material and shit, like especially with The Witcher, where it's like, the source material doesn't mention any like skin tones or like people of color. It's like, yeah, the original Witcher novels are written by like a fucking, what are they, Polish? Like
Yeah.
black people don't exist there, dude. Like, but it's just like, who cares?
It's like
You know?
written in a
Eh,
complete like,
yeah.
like what do you call it? Like not ethnos. What is it like? Homo whatever like nation.
Yeah,
Like a
it's just like,
homogenous, like racially homogenized like nation.
yeah,
It's like
it's
damn,
like,
really.
it's just so silly that people are like they'll see a brown person in a fantasy series and they get upset. It's like, why? Like, why? Like, what is the issue here? Like, what is
Yeah.
it? What does it matter if a high elf is not fucking pasty white? Like, does that matter to you? Like, does that really matter? And if it
And
does matter, it shouldn't. It really shouldn't.
yeah. It's yeah. I mean, there are just gonna be more of those people as time goes on. But yeah, it's very unfortunate. But yeah. Anyways, thank you, Nier, for your shout out call. Toast.
My shout out. I don't know.
Okay.
Shout out.
Well,
I guess I'll shout out Geets for being the best common writer in a long time. By a long time, I mean 1 year.
okay. And your call out?
You.
Oh, okay.
Damn.
Damn.
I'm
So
gonna
I
shout
get
you out for not playing.
watching,
What?
playing what?
For not
Not
watching
playing.
Kamen Rider.
Yeah, if we're not watching Kamen Rider.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say for not watching
Yeah,
Kamen
you
Rider.
got a
Okay,
lot to
yeah, okay.
catch up on, friend. Okay.
And for not play and for not telling me about what is this called?
The visual novel that I told you about.
Yeah.
It's like 創作彼女の恋愛公式, right, or something like that. It's like, but yeah,
Oh,
it's the new
Spire,
visual
you
novel that
like
came out recently.
ASMR, right? I see one that's exclusive. And
That
does that
is
mean
not what I said, but okay.
exclusive to DL site? Yeah. To Earnest Love Pussy Therapy.
That's not something I will be checking out in the near future. Thank you very
Why
much.
not?
I don't think it's up my alley, so
Spire,
I will decline it for now.
It's a bit close-minded of you. I don't.
check it out.
I
Here you go.
apologize. Yeah, I don't need to post it. But
Just late. There you
anyways,
go.
what the fuck is this description? Anyways,
Yeah,
what
Spire,
the
Spire.
fuck?
Watch Common Rider. 01 is the easiest to find because it's out officially on Shout Factory. Here, I'll even link it to you.
Yeah.
Here's
Anyway,
all the main episodes. Bam, done. Watch it.
alright. So thank you, Toast, for your shout out call out. I guess I'll go last. Shout outs to actually this like season in general because like a lot of the stuff in this season was pretty decent to watch, like just to go through. And I did appreciate it instead of, some of the drivel that we get in previous seasons. And I did also go back and read some of like the more like cheesy like light novel or web novels that I keep going back to. Like the Otome game one that I keep reading for some reason, and like the Skeleton Knight light web novels. I keep going back to those. Um, my call out. My call out. What should I mean, I don't really have too much to call. I guess if I have to call out people, I'll just call out like the recently I was watching a VTuber. Her
Ooh,
name's like Shitagai Nora. And she's part of like the DWU, the Deep Web Underground, like the that sort of group or whatever. And she did this event with a fortune teller, and this fortune teller really liked to do like love affair related stuff. And the fortune teller was just like during one part of the fortune telling event, she was just like, "Oh, I see like you might have like a lover or somebody that you like near you or whatever," and like brought up this like idea of like the VTuber having potentially a boyfriend. And the female VTuber, instead of refusing it, kind of just went like, "Oh, really?" and like kind of just like imply that she might have a boyfriend or whatever, just like just to But the reason why she did it was to ward off the type of people that watch VTubers and go like, or female VTubers and go like, or even male VTubers really, but mostly female VTubers and go like, oh, oh, I'll support this female streamer as long as they don't get a boyfriend, as long as they stay pure, or like, and there's an actual, this is not just like me making stuff up. There's an actual slang term in Japanese for these people. It's called unicorn. And these people again are oftentimes
unicorn.
Hololive related fans uh that watch female VTubers and support them as long as they stay pure and as long as they don't get a boyfriend or have any sort of experiences in that sense and stuff like that. And even people like Tamaki, for instance, right? Inuyama Tamaki, the person behind that, is hell bent on making like a group that's based around that sort of concept as well. Although she herself got married, so it's kind of like question mark. so,
It sells.
but yeah. Anyways, my call out is to those sorts of people, that sort of like fan base, crowd base, and um, that sort of force that sort of stuff to happen, force people to female VTubers to go to these sorts of lengths to like drive them away, drive those sorts of like nuts away. So
The
call out
best
to them.
the best way to handle this is to not talk about anything relationship related at all. Stick
I
to stick to
mean,
your stick to your lore, I guess. Like there's a bunch in Hololive that don't do
yeah,
that.
I mean,
They'll do
I
fairly
think
well.
that's one proper way to
Like
do
the
it.
easiest way to do it.
Um,
It's like
yeah,
don't
yeah,
mention
that's pretty much the standard way to do it. But it kind of just like it's unfortunate that it has to exist in the first place. Was sort of my focal point on for the call out. So
Like, Pekara actively avoids, and guess what? She's the most sub JP Hololiver for a reason.
I mean,
Eh.
there are many
Also,
reasons beyond that.
she's a very
The
good
fact that
streamer.
she's an incredibly experienced and talented streamer, but
Yeah, I mean, she had like 10 years of experience or some
Yeah.
shit like
Look,
before
all
she
you have to
joined Hololive.
do is watch a streamer like her, maybe like Corone or something, and they stream for like 14 hours a day, right? Then you
That's
know
all you
you're
have to do.
safe because they
Yeah.
can't possibly be doing anything else.
unless what is it? It's like one of the remember in the early years of like Niji Sanjay Hololive, there was like the meme where it's like you heard like the whatever in the back or
Oh, yeah.
whatever, like yeah, or like people like memed about like seeing the hand or like hearing sounds or whatever, blah blah blah. Like that shit was.
Like, you mentioned something about relationships, and I think the only one that got out of it unscathed in Hololive is probably Toa.
No, it's Kanan as well.
Yeah.
No,
I
yeah.
don't know who that is, but Toa. With the whole like, there was a male voice in the background.
Oh yeah. Toa had this. Yeah, in terms of like just like the actual scandals on stream. Yeah, exactly.
She's the only one that got
Yeah.
out unscathed. Like, she
Yes,
lost
yes,
some
yes.
subs, but she gained back way more.
I mean,
And well, it
'cause
wasn't even a
Toa-
scandal in the first place because
Toa
it was
also didn't
like,
go fucking nuclear when it happened, so
exactly.
like she just kind of shut up and
Yeah,
just
she
let it
was-
blow over.
The whole thing that happened was like there was a male voice when she was, I think, playing Apex or something.
Yeah.
While she was AFK, then she went out and mistakenly said it was her manager. That blew up.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
like
That was-
nowadays,
I mean, that was really early too, but
Yeah.
nowadays it's like she collabs with all the males that she wants, even real dudes, and no one cares. Because it's usually just playing Apex.
Anyways, that was pretty much my shot on call out for now. And with that, we are finally done again with this, with the summer 2022 lineup again. Unfortunately, we couldn't. I mean, I think we did cover pretty much everything that we wanted to cover for this season, more or less. We had pretty good coverage this season. Unfortunately, we could not cover the ending episodes just because of how the schedules kind of lined up. Next episode, we're gonna do again fall 2022 preview show. There's gonna be a couple of stuff coming up. After that, we are going to do a side cast because I believe the schedules are shifting, so we're not really going to be able to cover the fall anime properly if we start off right after the fall preview shows. So we're going to do side casts after that, and then after the side cast, we should be in good form to start right in on the fall 2022 season. So watch out for that. And if you do like what we do, we stream our live recording of the podcast every other Saturday starting from 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over at twitch.tv/4PlayerAnimecast. That's with the numeral 4, where we talk about the latest and greatest in Japanese animation, anime, manga, light novels, web novels, visual novels, and so much more. So we record our podcast here. You can visit it on VOD here, as well as 4-player VTuber cast coming. Fuck you.
I mean, I'm
As
still waiting for a VTuber cast. Yeah,
I'm
you're
not.
not wrong.
Spire, you
as
have
well,
a month. We're gonna do a whole Kamen Rider run through. So get to
Yeah, fine. I'm
my
okay with
my
that.
head is like like my neck is like sinking back into my body right now. I don't
In
think you guys understand.
anticipation, yeah.
Anticipation,
You
yeah,
have two
exactly.
choices: VTuber or Kamen Rider.
Oh my god, I can't even participate in one of those.
Make your choice,
yes, you
modern
can.
man.
You have a
You can,
month,
just watch.
dude.
I could, but I would literally have to be chucked inside my room for like a week, just like watching stuff.
Yeah, and you've got like 4. So
You're right. Anyways, so you can watch our recordings of our podcast on Twitch as well as on YouTube for PlayAnimecast. So whichever format you desire. We have updates and news available on our social media on Facebook for PlayAnimecast as well as on Twitter handle at 4PPAnimecast. Again, all with the numeral 4. So check us out here, check us out there, and as always, we'll see you next time.